Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week in Fruitville, Florida, where a body is found with its skull caved in, and out of several people who may have wanted this person dead for many reasons, one suspect seems to rise above the rest, until there's another suspect, and then one more. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again on another insane, crazy edition of Small Town Murder. Thank you. Neither of us have slept a lot lately. You could probably hear it in my voice. I haven't had a day off in like 2 weeks.
It's been a tough couple of weeks.
Yeah, I haven't slept in a long time. But I am jacked. I have a delirious energy that's really going to be fun today. Plus, I took a lot of edible. So all of those factors together, we're going to have a good time. And I know it's a stressful week for people. The rest of the world, I don't know if it's stressful for you, but for the United States, it's a stressful week. And so we figured, we're not going to. This story today is exactly what everyone's going to need. Just
not heavy.
It's just crazy. It's weird, but it's wild. It's one of those just wild. Oh my God! Only on Small Town Murder type of stories that you're going to hear, full of panhandlery and hillbilly to the 10th power.
All right.
Wait till you see it. It's going to be so much. It's Florida. That's one thing. We can all fight.
Yeah.
Everybody can fight and go back and forth, and that's fine. We can all agree Florida is a tire fire.
It sucks.
As a state, crazy shit happens there. So we're going to go down to Florida and make fun of it today. Quickly, want to thank everyone for their reviews this week on Apple Podcasts. That purple icon, that helps a lot. We don't know why it helps, but it helps drive you up the charts. Not sure why, but it's a business thing. If you want to help us out, please do that. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Right. Say anything you want. Just don't make it political. So, or do it. I don't give a shit what you say. Either way, 5 stars, though. If that would be great. Do that. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything small town murder and crime and sports related. Listen to Crime and Sports. If you haven't been listening, oh my God, you're missing out.
It's so fun.
So much craziness is going on there. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie, because we've hit a weird groove over there, too. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
And first, I really, really want to thank everybody.
Every last one of you.
For the virtual live show attendance. Thank you guys. You blew us away with your enthusiasm for it, and we cannot thank you enough. We had so much fun, and I know it was about a third of the people said they kind of had a few audio problems or something, and some of it was the mic setup, and some of it might have been your Wi-Fi or something, because some people said it was smooth. We're not sure, but we're going to smooth that out. We're definitely going to do another one. Next time it'll be an actual small town murder, like a real live show, like we do on the road, and we'll do it that way. We're going to set up a mic setup that's going to be awesome, and it's going to be wild. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much, though, everybody. Honestly.
Having that in the bank and done, and knowing what you guys will support for us is enormous. It's a huge gauge, and we were completely staggered by what you did for us.
We want to have fun and get with everybody. That's why we do the live shows, and we want to come to you, but we really can't right now. So this is the way we can do it. We'll come to everybody at once. So we'll do it. Thank you so much for doing that, though. So we really do appreciate that. And if you want to get extra content, let's say you want to be a Patreon supporter, you can do that very easily. We have so much crazy stuff on Patreon. Last week it was haunted little small towns and haunted stuff for Halloween.
I'm still getting messages about haunted shit that people have seen.
Oh, people had a good time with that.
It's awesome.
And we talked about that. The next one we're going to do next week is going to be about the Chris Watts documentary, and the whole
story,
Chris, because that's kind of right up our alley. I mean, it's a small town. It's a small town murder case, and we would do the case if it wasn't such a big case.
If there wasn't 19 podcasts put out last week.
Instead, we'll talk about it, breaking it down into detail. So we'll talk about it in a bonus, and we'll do that. Everything like that you can get at patreon.com/crimeandsports. And anybody over the $5 level, all sorts of great bonus materials. You also get access to all the Crime and Sports bonus. It's great stuff. It's well worth it. We promise you that. And if you just want to be a producer and have Jimmy mispronounce your name, which any contribution will get your name mispronounced at the end of the show, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com.
And thank you for that also.
Thank you so much. Quick disclaimer, it's a comedy podcast.
Gotcha.
Stories are real. I know they don't seem like it sometimes because they're so insane, but somehow they're real. This stuff actually happened. We're not making anything up, but, we're comedians, so we're going to make jokes. Yeah. We make jokes around craziness that happens around. It's a crazy idea to let's murder someone. So when people have that idea, there's probably funny things happening because it's such a nutty idea. We're going to find the jokes in that. That's what it is there. And what we're not going to do, though, is we're going to go out of our way not to make fun of the victim or the victim's family because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
And there you have it.
That's how it works. So if that sounds good to you, buckle up. If not, we warned you. Sorry, I don't know if you don't like the show. I don't know what to tell you.
It's fine.
But if it sounds good to you, let's release everything here. Sit back, clear the lungs, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, Jimmy.
All right.
Let's go on a trip.
I would absolutely love it.
Let's go a traveling. Let's see here. Yeah, we've been all over the place lately, and now we're going to go down. We were in Indiana last week, I believe.
Yes, that
Indiana.
Right, yeah.
Yes, Indiana last week. It seems like 6 months ago.
It does.
But it was last week we're in Indiana. This week we're going to go on down to Florida, which are always some of our favorites. It's whenever there's a Florida episode, everyone's like, "Ooh, it's a Florida." It's in everybody. You know what I mean? They're very popular episodes. Yeah. Everybody knows that there's going to be a lot of crazy because if you're going to sift through Florida murders, you're not going to just pick something that's not insane. You're going to pick. There's a lot to pick from.
Yeah,
we could have done 17 cases on Florida. I could just do it in a row.
Yeah,
we do the next 6 months on only Florida, and it would be an amazing show. I swear to God. But this is wild.
Podcast of Tire Fire, Florida.
That's it. We're going down to Fruitville.
Great. Well,
of course. That's the Florida.
They dug deep.
This is on the central western coast of Florida. It's basically inside. It's basically like a suburb of Sarasota. It's kind of like when we did that city in Idaho, in Boise, that's kind of technically inside Boise, but it's its own small town. Kind of what we got here.
Okay.
So we're kind of cheating it a little bit. And
Panhandle, but like in the corner?
No. This is down by Tampa. There.
Is it down there?
Yeah, western central coast.
Sarasota, not Pensacola.
Not Pensacola. Yeah, that's up there. Tallahassee up there. Yeah, well, Florida's confusing anyway. So it's just, like we said, it's all panhandles. Yeah. Two panhandles welded together at the panhandle taint. Right. That's what Florida is here. So this is, like I said, central western coast, right outside Florida. It's about an hour from Tampa, about 5.5 hours to Greenwood, Florida, which was our last Florida episode.
That was the neighbors, right?
That was 164, that episode number.
I kind of remember it.
This guy was he was an idiot, if I remember correctly.
I remember no, that was like an orange something. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is in Sarasota County, area code 941. 7.1 square miles, and there's some water in there, like most of Florida. Right. It's almost land that you can, punch through with your foot and just hit ocean.
Yeah.
There's not a lot under there.
Don't wear cowboy boots here.
No. Heels will put you right through the land. If it's not paved, don't wear heels. You'll end up swimming. So you get a lot of kind of spots of water everywhere in this swampy shit. So there's some water here. Town motto, odd. It's almost like they saw us coming. Quote, come for the fruit, stay for the murder. All right. It's not their town motto. It's the one I've given it, but that's it. It doesn't have a town motto. Good enough. And I got to say, this is an area that it's kind of came into existence. Like, it always was an area, but it's weird, hard to explain, but it was kind of a rural area, and it's kind of come into existence over time. So this is kind of where the murder was, but it's a little bit off of it, but it's the closest place we could find to it. It's one of those. So we'll make fun of it. What the fuck? Anyway, the name Sarasota of the county there's several disputed legends of how the name came into account. Legend connects it with a girl named Sarah, who was the daughter of the conquistador De Soto. Okay. De Soto there. I think he discovered the Mississippi. Quite the find, sir. I was just walking, and there it was.
Couldn't walk anymore.
Big fucking river, man. I was like, shit. Fuck, I do. I could try to ford it. I could try to float across it, or I could hire an Indian to help. Right. Now, I'm not sure which I'm going to do, but my son has dysentery.
Right.
You still shitting, boy?
Swimming it isn't an option.
We're going, goddamn.
Cattle and shit.
Cattle, shit's going to float away. We're going to lose all our axles and wheels. It's going to be no good. I don't know why I gave a Spanish man from Spain a hillbilly. I think as soon as he got there, it just happened. He as he was landing, he was like, there it is, the land! And they landed, and he's like, oh, man, look around here. What the fuck happened?
This feels right.
And the kid's like, I don't know, my shoes fell off, and my pants is too short now. I don't get it.
I took a step. There's mud all over the bottom of my jeans.
I poked right
then
through.
Just cut them.
Cut them up. There you go. Now you got them little strings hanging down. The ladies like that. That's what they into.
Cut the mud off.
Cut it off now. So, some people thought it originated with an Indian word, Sarasota, which meant a landfall easily observed. The map where you first saw it was in like the mid 1700s. It was known as Port Sarasota, like SOTE, and then they changed it to Sarasota with a Z.
Okay,
and then it became Sarasota at some point here. The county was created in 1921, and it's like I said, it's got its European roots, I guess. If that's what they'll try to put like Spanish when it's convenient, and then it's not when it isn't. Whatever.
When it's a pain in the ass to pronounce.
Whatever. So there's a guy named Joseph Daniel Anderson. I found I love finding these accounts from the Times just to see how boring these people's fucking lives were. How much of an entire...
You found his diary?
Their whole lives were Sahara Desert fart facts. Yeah. That's their whole entire lives. Just, they woke up.
Yeah.
They worked till it was not light anymore.
Somebody died of the sniffles.
And then they sat there.
Yeah.
And buried a child. Right. And then that was it. There was nothing else to do. Just nowhere to go. So apparently after the Civil War, a lot of people from Georgia moved their families to Florida because Georgia had been fucking decimated by Sherman's army, cutting through it on purpose. So, they moved down to Florida to, find better land. So one of them was this guy, Joseph Daniel Anderson. He was born in 1867 and was a child when his father moved down there, and he ended up staying down there for a long time. And it was southern Manatee County, this guy was. And with only hand tools, he converted the Florida wilderness into an agricultural industry.
Oh, boy.
He went out there with some, I don't know. That seems...
With a hoe and a rake.
I doubt it was by himself. How do you go out and just conquer the Florida wilderness? He would have been eaten by a snake or a gator or something pretty quickly, I imagine. Anyway, there was land that he ended up noticing that it produced vegetables and sugarcane and citrus, and he raised cattle down there and pigs and all this type of shit.
Okay.
He and his brother Moses, he's got a brother named Moses,
of course,
prospered in ranching. They were big ranchers until the Range Law Act made it so you couldn't use this land that wasn't yours for grazing.
Okay.
And that was that.
Get off our land, do it on your own.
Yeah. Before that, it was just open season. Your cows could graze anywhere.
People do that still. It's pretty fucking amazing that's a thing.
No,
you can just raise a farm and cattle and shit.
They just graze
on somebody else's shit.
And they're not allowed to. They can't block it either.
Right.
There's different laws. Hunter Thompson, I remember, complaining about it in Colorado, that things would wander in on his property, and he's like, I'm not even allowed to fucking kill them. It's ridiculous. It's all angry about it. He's like, I should be able to eat that if I want to eat it.
I'd love to put that cow down.
Yeah.
Because it looks like...
He wanted to eat it. That's why,
he's got a nice tenderloin.
It wasn't a bloodlust. Right. It was like, that's hunting. I mean, he lived in the mountains, and he liked to hunt shit. So
I hunted a cow.
Yeah, I guess so. So some of this is wild too. Sleds were used to move the farm produce and fruit and cattle to Lemon Bay, where they were transferred to boats and ships and all that shit. Some of the wagons were rafted across the bay, like in Oregon Trail. They just put them on a fucking raft, sent them over there, and so they would ferry them all the way to Cuba sometimes. Some of these products, yeah. This guy also pioneered commercial fishing in the North Lemon Bay, which had a shitload of mullet.
Really?
Which is, I
didn't know that was a fish.
Oh, yeah, there's a mullet fish.
What does it look? Does it look like a hillbilly with a waterfall in the back?
That's where it came from. That's where the mullet came from. It's from the fish, because that's where people got down here. Yeah.
Oh,
this is the birthplace of the mullet.
Just a bunch of Joe Dirt swimming around.
The fertile cradle of mullet civilization. It is right here. Mullipotamia, I call it. The seed of life.
It's all just singing Kid Rock songs.
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh at my own thing, but Mullipotamia is pretty fucking...
It's pretty solid.
I didn't expect that one. I'll put it that way. It just came out.
Surprised yourself.
You might as well have said that, and I would have went, holy shit, Mullipotamia. Just a surprise. I think it's the edible. So anyway.
A bunch of Kid Rock looking fish singing Steppenwolf songs.
Fucking yeah.
I like it.
Woo! Speedwagon, baby. Not great. So these guys fished with nets, which is wild.
You can catch them with that, huh?
I guess so.
You just scoop it out.
Scoop it on up. The mullets aren't very bright, I suppose.
Imagine they're pretty dumb.
Why that came from, too. Probably, right? It's a dumber, slower fish. It's a little bit behind the times. The other fish are up there. It's just hanging out in the back trying to light a cigarette. And
it's hard for it to swim when it's dragging a 30-pack of Strohs.
That's the problem. That it stole from the gas station while their friend distracted the guy by buying a pack of Chesterfields. Right. Or whatever bullshit old school cigarette brand he's using.
Sing some popular song with new words.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking asshole.
That's awesome.
And he makes $1 billion fucking dollars.
Of course.
Makes a shitload of money off somebody else's music. Good for you. You're a real originator. You fucking jerk.
You fucking jerk.
Weird Al was awesome too.
He's great.
At least his songs were funny.
That's the thing.
You suck.
That's the thing. If you're gonna do it, make it funny, and he does make it funny.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Kid Rock does it seriously, and we're supposed to be like, "Yeah, bro."
Yeah. Cool.
No, Write your own shit.
Cool, man.
Fucking turd.
Hey, I like how you mashed together 3 songs we already know. It's pretty cool.
And then wrote your own about how great you are?
You took like Puff Daddy's formula of, it would be cool. It's hard to get people to like new songs.
Right.
You know how you get them to like them? You just make it a song they already like.
Right.
And then you just put other words on it.
About a 30-foot boat with a snowplow on it.
But the rest of it's the same.
What are we talking about?
But yeah, Kid Rock was like, no. You take it to the next level. Yeah, people like that song, but you know what they really like? This song, that song, and this song too. So I'm going to mash them all together, and they're going to like it 3 times as much. It's an odd way of doing business. So
I'm talking about my jet ski boat that I welded together.
Yes,
and put on a trailer with spinning rims.
Fuck yeah.
What? And then a snowplow. Fuck you, kid. I don't even know your name.
What is your name? You are 50, sir. Sir. You are Sir Rock at this point, but not like in an English way.
You are Mr. Rock.
Yeah, you are.
And we only do that out of elderly respect.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Otherwise,
it has nothing to do with you being successful.
Mullets don't get you a lot of misters.
Fucking jerk.
If you want the misters, you got to lose the mullet. That's the phrase that we're going with today. So the Ringling brothers were here. Mm-hmm. The John and Charles Ringling.
Oh, that was their names.
Yeah, these assholes who brought us,
tortured animals.
Tortured animals and scared children for decades. For a century. Thanks, guys.
Threw weird people around strings.
Thanks for scaring the shit out of me when I was 6 and my neighbors took me to the fucking... I went with this whole family that the people lived next door to my grandmother. I swear, like there was like 14 people in this family. It was a huge family. Jesus. And the parents were from the Philippines and all the kids were born here, and they had a big fucking family, and they had like other people that had moved there. When somebody would move over, they just move into their house. Yeah. And they're really nice people. I used to play football with the kids. Close. They were cool as fuck. And they took me to the circus, these people, next door, and I was fucking terrified of the circus. They had like multiple clowns, and they were extra sadistic, and I was fucking not happy about it. So John and Charles Ringling, they came in and invested in property in Sarasota, and just before that, that was right after it became a city. Yeah. They invested a bunch in it, and then tourists started coming in because it's by the water. So I mean, people from up north, it's warm and there's water, they'll come there.
Sure.
And so with the tourism and all this type of shit and the Ringling brother investments, new people started coming, and it kind of drove this area up. And then they created Sarasota County out of Manatee County, out of a chunk of it in 1921. 1900, the telephone was extended out to this town, which it hadn't been before that.
Ran a cable under the ocean.
Yeah, they had to. Yeah. Nowhere else to run it.
It's wild.
So I have some reviews of this town, and they're so different yet oddly similar. It's so strange. Everybody here, it's almost like, I don't know what it is, if everyone has brain damage that wrote these reviews. I mean they just got hit in the head with like a ball peen hammer, and then they were like, I need to write a review of my town on niche.com.
Right.
And they did it because it's all something very specific and personal to them that it's very weird. Okay, here's they're all 3 stars we'll give you, just a bunch of average reviews. Quote, Sarasota is an interesting place in that it varies dramatically in different parts of town. Okay. It's different in different places, Jimmy.
It's wild.
Isn't that weird?
What a weird thing to happen.
Most cities, exactly the same everywhere in town. There's no nice part or shit part or old part or new part.
Right. Don't come to Phoenix. It's like a plaid jacket. It changes in a mile.
Hey, look at this. Oh, was that a gunshot?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that house. What is that, a 7,000 square foot mansion? Right. Oh, God, duck. That happens within 4 minutes of itself. It's crazy. Just driving westward. So, certain areas have a sense of luxury and wealth, while others appear to be on the other end of the spectrum. Every city on earth.
Like a society.
Like everywhere. However, overall, I would say that there's a lot of wealth in Sarasota, which contributes to one of its most attractive assets, the arts. There is a rich culture here, especially downtown. However, much of the population is older, and thus things can move a little slowly at times. Okay. Now, 3 stars for the next one. Just, by the way, no capital letters at all in this. Yeah. Not a lot of clubbing type places, lots of bars. Okay. That's their entire take on the town.
The bars don't have the music I like, is what I took from that.
I want to dance, and instead it's like sit down.
Instead it's got Kid Rock playing.
It's not. Just not liking it. So 3 stars here. Says, quote, most people I know that live in my neighborhood have stayed the entirety of their lives here. However, I have seen a few people leave due to pet restrictions.
Okay, wait. Which ones are they?
That's what I mean.
Gators? Does that get the fuck out?
I don't know.
A gator?
Some towns, some municipalities, and whatever will have dog breed restrictions.
Yeah,
I know that. I don't know if Florida would, because in Florida, I feel like you could have two machine guns and a cobra around your neck, and people would be like, "Well, I don't see nothing wrong with that. He's just expressing himself.
Right?
It's fine." At Walmart,
a pit bull that is trained to fire an AR.
Yeah, an armed pit bull with a cobra around its neck.
And you walk it,
and you're carrying it on your shoulder like that. The dog with all loaded up. In Florida, they'd be like, "Yep, that's regulation. Carry on."
Somebody sketch that. It's going on the flag.
Yeah, I think that should be on the flag. So yeah, that's some serious pet restrictions if they're leaving. 3 stars for this one. I have not heard of any complaints of the employment status of my neighborhood.
Oh.
That's the whole review.
I don't have. It's
but 3 stars.
Right.
Average, because I haven't heard any complaint. No one's saying anything good either. I'm not hearing good things, but, no complaints. And here's another 3-star. There are always buses going around for public transportation, and there is one airport on one side of town.
Yeah.
That's it.
It sounds good.
That's the whole review.
Keeps it on that side of town, and there's transportation. That sounds great.
Why would you review that, though? 3 stars, there's buses and an airport. Okay, anything else?
Sounds like a guy with a DUI.
Is that a terrible airport and the buses suck? There's no opinion? Okay, I found another 3-star here. Quote, I have lived in this house for almost a decade now, and it has become a very comfortable living arrangement. Are all of these people on fucking pills, or what is the fucking... This sounds like you just dragged several people from an Oxycontin stupor and said, tell us what you think of your town. And they were like, I've lived here and it's been a very comfortable living. What's the arrangement? Is this cool? Is this good? Can I go back to sleep now?
I'm just fucking her. I'm not married or nothing. It feels comfortable.
It's very comfortable. Now, people of this town, the population has grown. Like in the 80s when our story took place, there was only about 3,000 people around this area. It was just a different kind of area. It was more rural, and it's become kind of more suburban now. Nice. It's nowadays 13,541 people, up 38% since 1990. Like the rest of Florida, people have moved there from the Northeast a lot.
It's unbelievable to me every day still.
I
get it, leaving the snow to go somewhere where it's sunny, but how do you land in Florida when you just look at any fucking newspaper?
Yeah.
How do you ever go, sounds great?
I'll ignore it. That's when people go.
I would never.
You can live with anything. That's what it is. People can live with anything. So more females than males here, which is...
How cheap's it got to be?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this isn't even cheap.
No,
we'll get to it. More females than males. I think that's because the population's a little older. 46.8 is the median age, so that's about 10 years more than normal. That usually means older people, more elderly people, more women. They always outlive us, so that's how that works. Married population, everything else is just about the same. 50-50 for married. Few more widows because the population's older, but about the same as far as people with children and all that kind of shit. Now, race of this town, 85% white, 1.8% black.
Interesting.
And not too many. It's Florida, too, so that's
wild.
That's wild. 2.2% Asian, and more Asians than black people in Florida in this town. It's just odd. And 10% Hispanic, which, again, is kind of low for Florida. So
close to Tampa like that too.
Yeah, only an hour away. Religion, about 44% of the people are religious, and they are mostly Catholic. 20% are Catholic. You got a lot of people from the Northeast and also the Hispanic population. You're going to get more Catholics down there. 1.5% Jewish.
What?
Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila. I don't know the words. Hey. Yay.
Yeah.
That's been a while.
It's been
Jesus Christ.
At least 3 months.
A long time. Yeah, it's been a while. 0.2% Islam. We're definitely not doing politics today.
You're the riddance for today.
Especially from Florida. Who knows? Could be anything.
Oh, fucking Jesus.
So, could be anything.
Yeah.
So unemployment rate down here is about the same as the rest of the country. Median household income's a little more. It's usually about $57,000. Here it's $66,000, almost $67,000. All the demographics that make over $60,000 are high.
Really?
And all the poor demos are low.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of There's more retail and healthcare jobs, but there's also a lot of professional and scientific and technical jobs here as well. Cost of living, out of 100, it's 112. So a little bit high, and housing is the highest of all. Housing's a 145.
Oh, my.
Which is why you moved to Florida, because it's cheap housing, and here it's not. Median home cost here, $334,800.
My God.
Which is crazy. And if you need this, I don't know for what, if you have to move to Fruitville for court, I don't know if it's court ordered, we have for you the court ordered Fruitville, Florida real estate report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $1,560, which is above the average, $300 or so above the average.
That's more than my rent here.
That's what I mean in a house that you have.
Yeah.
I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 994 square feet. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It looks like the jungle has reclaimed it.
Hell yeah.
Like it's in there. There's at least snakes, if not corpses.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me enough to go in this house. $134,900.
And it needs a lot of work.
Oh, a lot of work.
It needs a new house.
It needs to be taken back from the elements. Looks like there's trees growing through it. It's a disaster.
Over $100,000.
Wow. 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,072 square foot house. This is like the clean, nice version of this. It's like new and, all washed and nice and no flora running through it. $222,500. So that's a small one. And then there aren't a lot of big houses here. This is a very kind of, all the houses are like 1,800, 2,000 square feet. Yeah. Found a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,658 square foot place. Decent, nice house. $425,990.
That's not it.
Way too expensive.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know, Florida.
How do you?
No, thank you. Things to do here. The Fruitville Grove Pumpkin Festival. Holy shit, come for the Pumpkin Festival. It just ended. It was every week of October. It was still going on.
Really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, events they had. Costume contest every Saturday at 2. Local vendor craft show. Pony rides.
Oh, my God.
Hay rides.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. Enchanted unicorn encounter.
You assholes.
I've been dying for an I've had unicorn encounters, but they haven't been as enchanted as I would have liked them to been, so.
I'd like to know what super glue they used to put that on the horse.
Here you go.
Right.
Butterfly garden experience, horse-drawn carriage rides. They just pluck the unicorn horn off them and stick a carriage on them. Kids fun zone, mini train ride, playground, pumpkin painting, hug a goat.
Oh, boy.
Hug a goat.
Jesus.
For some reason. Animal petting zoo, a zip line, Torres Extreme Riders in the Globe of Death.
Awesome.
That's the guys that go around
with
those
the motorcycles
and
a fucking caged
all
circle.
of that, and then Extreme Riders in the Globe of Death. That is completely
hug a goat or watch these guys almost die.
Death Globe or goat hug. What do you think, sweetheart? Which one do you want to see?
How do you have hug a goat and a petting zoo? Like if you go to hug one, that's $5 over there.
You hug them over here. And then the Torres one-ring family circus.
What?
It's 3-ring is the traditional, I believe, amount of rings. So it's a 1-ring. I don't know. This is all free.
Yeah.
This is all free, except for the rides. Pony rides, rock wall and bounce houses, zip line, and all this shit have different prices, ranging from $1 to $10. Daily activities. Jesus, everything. You can hug a goat any goddamn day of the week. And then live performance by Bill Vinhage. Okay. That's coming to you. Bill Vinhage or Vinhage. Then October 17th, very lucky, they had Sarah Nelms there.
Oh.
Which is, I'm sad I missed it. We should be in Florida for that one. And then a young, talented solo violinist does a performance in a pumpkin patch as well.
Name.
Dene is the name there.
The young and talented. There's pumpkins. Get over here.
Get over here. Sit in that patch and do this. Watch out for snakes. And then there's a children's costume contest all the week. They also have every Saturday. They also have a berry festival as well. It's just fucking berries.
This is bleak,
It's berries. Hand-dipped blueberry cheesecake, ice cream, blah, blah, blah.
Yeesh.
Lots of shit like that. You can bring your dogs, but they must be up to date on vaccines.
And on a
leash.
Watch
out for that. And leash.
Gets eaten.
That's right. And someone will pick it up by accident and eat it. Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in here. Property crime, slightly high. It's about 1/3 high, but it's a lot of tourists and shit coming through here, so that's actually not bad. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. Don't forget about assault.
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore of crime is slightly high, about 10% high, but in the range of normal. So it's kind of a quiet suburban kind of place, and that's just the way it is.
It's average Florida with outrageous pricing for houses.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Kind of, I guess it's turned into kind of a more pricier little enclave. Not back in 1986, though, in this area, and we'll talk about this. Go back to 1986. Let's talk about. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
About a murder.
Great.
Okay, let's do it here. 1986, we'll start there, and we'll talk about a couple of people. First person we have to talk about, he's 33 years old at the time in 86, not from Florida. No. He's been all over the place. He's from Kentucky, and he lived in Ohio, and he's lived all over. We'll talk about the places he's lived. But he's a man named Ireland Boyd.
That's his first name.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland Boyd.
Okay.
That's a hell of a handle.
What do you do with that?
Well, you get a nickname.
Oh,
is what you do, because no one's going to call you Ireland.
And an Ira, everybody mistakes me Jewish, and I got to explain them. No,
and I got to be like, I ain't Jewish.
My name's Ireland. Yeah. It's weird.
And
I know. My mom's an asshole.
He's overly offended that they thought he was Jewish. Yeah, one of those things. No. And what are you going to call him? Irish?
Yeah.
That doesn't really go. So instead, they come up with a name that just suits his personality. Yeah. Don't go off his name. His name that everyone calls him, Hillbilly.
Perfect.
Hillbilly. This is Hillbilly Boyd right here.
Oh, my God.
So right away, we're in Western Florida.
It sounds like a wrestler that close to Tampa.
Ireland.
Hillbilly Ireland Boyd.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming down the aisle from Sarasota, Florida, weighing 386 pounds, Ireland Hillbilly Boyd.
Do you put Hillbilly after Ireland or before it?
It's Ireland Hillbilly Boyd.
You think so?
Hillbilly Ireland Boyd.
That's great.
That's his wrestling name.
Yeah.
If he was a boxer, he'd be Ireland Hillbilly Boyd. His wrestling name is Hillbilly Ireland
You're damn
Boyd.
Right.
They probably, and then after a while, Vince is like, "Why do we keep saying this Irish? We're saying he's a hillbilly, and then he's Irish, and the next, well, I don't understand.
It's too much. It's
what
confusing.
are we doing? Why are we doing this? He's either a hillbilly or he's Irish. Let's decide which one and do it.
It's a bite out of like a pickled gator.
Yeah. He's a hillbilly.
Fights it on the
He's going to put his overalls on and he's going to get all excited.
Christ.
Sorry to bring Vince McMahon to the small town murder world, but it's when it suits it's got to do it.
Hillbilly.
Yeah. So Hillbilly Boyd is 33 years old. And he is exactly what you'd expect him to be.
Yeah.
If I said, hey, I know that guy named Hillbilly Boyd, what pops in your head?
Yeah.
That's the guy. Take that picture, frame it, keep it there for the rest of the show.
Florida Jim Duggan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jim Duggan, after he just saw an alligator.
Perfect.
It's one of those. Jim Duggan fighting an alligator picture.
And excited about it.
And very excited about it. So Hillbilly Boyd, I found a couple of things that he did in the newspaper from when he lived in Ohio 10 years earlier, by the way, in the 70s. It's pretty funny. I found him in 1972 or 1973. He was arrested for failure to transfer his plates on his car.
They put that in the newspaper.
That was in the newspaper.
Oh, the embarrassment.
In Norwalk, Ohio.
Oh, no.
Small towns like that will do that. Anybody that does anything, they put it in the newspaper.
Fucking church.
Which is terrible. Yeah, that's the worst.
Oh, boy.
And then everybody's friends will be, I saw your friend got arrested. Right. And then everybody's mother doesn't let them hang out with that one anymore.
Walking by.
That's how
Get the car registered, Boyd.
Yeah. Hey, Boyd. Hey, fix them plates up. God damn it. Jesus Christ. So
I read in the Gazette.
No, I read it over in the Norwalk Reader. It's a good article.
Norwalk Report.
That's what they said.
God damn it.
Then I found another report here from that era, which is hilarious. This is one where he says he was assaulted.
Oh.
And the title of it, the article is just, quote, men say they were assaulted. That's it. So I'm like, when I saw the title, I'm like, is this like men as a whole? Like a bunch of men are saying they're assaulted. There's like a reverse domestic violence article or something from the 70s. I don't know what's going on.
There's some female rapist out there.
Yeah. They've been assaulted.
Running away.
The guy's going, my dick was sore when she was done with me. I swear to God, I thought she was going to take it off.
She just got her nails done.
I mean, I liked it, but... I'm sore now is all I'm saying. That's all. I just, it was, I'll do it again. I'm not lying. If y'all got her number,
it's just.
Tell her I'm looking.
Her nail caught a wrinkle in the scrub. So now when I sweat, it hurts. That's all. For like 2 days, probably.
It tangles.
It stings.
It tangles. How you say that?
Had to take some PTO.
You know that. Actually, I just got fired. I'm not PTO. I only been there 3 weeks. I ain't got no PTO built up.
On unemployment.
So, well, no, actually, I'm not because I quit. So, in the end, because they said, if you do that again, I'm going to fire you. And I was like, you ain't going to fire me. I'll fire you, motherfucker. And I was like, yeah. And I walked out and I was like, shit.
I just saw that movie, Take This Job and Shove It. And I was like, my opportunity's now.
I'm going to do it.
Here we go.
So this article says 2 men claimed, and claimed is spelled wrong in the newspaper, by the way. Jimmy, I have a photo of the fucking, look at that.
Oh boy,
Calimed. 2 men calimed. CALIMED.
Oh, the journalism.
2 men calimed. They were assaulted in separate incidents over the weekend. So let's put it in an article. Why is this in the newspaper? Ireland Boyd told police he was attacked while sitting outside his apartment Sunday evening.
Oh.
See, the thing is, oh my God, and then they forget the D in his name in the next I swear, Jimmy.
This just says boy?
Next paragraph. Boy told the police. Am I lying? It's fucking gone.
That author should be
Jesus
fired.
Jesus Christ, this was a goddamn news. What was this? Was this like did a middle school put this out?
Hope you ain't looking for a Pulitzer.
This is their newspaper of record from this town.
Incredible.
Fuck me. So, told a man approached him and started calling him names. Hillbilly.
G. Calling him names.
Calling him names. Worse than hillbilly. Hey, wait a second. They call it, what could offend you, sir? You go by Hillbilly. He said, started calling him names and then hit him in the mouth, chipping one of his teeth.
Oh.
So, which is crazy because they're all the only ones he has are in the back. So he must have really got in there.
Both of them.
Yeah. So apparently, by the way, we'll find out. Hillbilly has a lot of enemies.
Really?
Just a lot of enemies. Nobody likes Hillbilly because you'll find out why. So another guy here, Richard Polacek, told police that they think it might have been the same person. He was pushed by a man at the park.
Okay.
He said the man tried to get him to fight by calling him names. This is the same description and same type of approach. Some guy going around looking for his own fight club.
Just baiting him.
Just trying to start fight club. This guy's sitting on his porch. What's up, motherfucker? Pussy? Like, I'm on my porch.
Just spraying people with a hose.
We're not at a nightclub. I'm on my porch. Like, what are you doing? Who does that? Who starts fights in people's front yards for no reason? I don't even know you. So he said the man pushed him against a car. And then about a half hour later, the man Polacek claimed assaulted him came to the police station, and he told the police that he had pushed Polacek against a car because Polacek was saying things about the man's girlfriend, who was nowhere near any of this.
Okay.
So apparently this dude thought that a stranger said, hey, your girlfriend's a fucking bitch or something, even though she's not there.
Right.
And you have no way of knowing if he even has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And this apparently happened twice in the same time. He might have been the same guy writing this article misspelling shit. I'm not positive. The same man.
Just making shit up.
Absolutely. So now Ireland Boyd, Hillbilly, his wife, he finds a wife.
Oh.
The Hillbilly finds a woman.
Wow.
And that is Mary Catherine Boyd. She'll be Boyd now. Mary Catherine Boyd, they got together. They had been together since about 1977. They've been married since about 81-ish. 81 they got married. So this is, been married about 5 years, been together almost 10.
Married in Ohio and moved to Florida?
Yeah, they've been all around. They lived in Kentucky, where Hillbilly was born.
Got it.
And grown, I guess.
That makes all the sense.
You grow a hillbilly. Indiana, Ohio, and Texas.
Jesus.
Before, and both those articles were from Ohio, by the way, before ending up in Florida.
Yep.
I'd say before moving to Florida, but these are the type of people that end up in Florida, or end up wherever they are, not just in Florida. We ended up here. And here is a trailer park in Florida. Okay. This is where they live. They have children, which is, again, 2 children total. So 2 children, Hillbilly, Mary Catherine Boyd, living in a trailer that they ended up in Florida after their multi-state tour.
Yeah.
So things have not. This isn't the most idyllic relationship. I don't think that she played house as a child and imagined this as her life. I imagine a man named Hillbilly that will drag me from state to state with my children and eventually end up in a sinking trailer in Florida. So, you know what I mean? Like,
my MASH outcome was much better than this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. She grew up like a little girl. She would have been in the 50s, like a little girl in the late 50s. They would have like, oh, what are we going to do? Men would have thought, hey, what kind of woman am I going to marry? And that's what kids thought of back then. She would have went, oh, and made up her little wedding, and she's like, no, take your shirt off. You're playing Hillbilly. Put these overalls on, like Vince McMahon told you. Do that. So
this ain't it at all.
This ain't it. So this is what happened. Now where they live, this area is a lower income. It's a trailer park, and the whole area is a lower income area. It's known as, for the time, especially because in the 80s, it's weird. The South, and a lot of places, not just the South. There's a lot of places that are segregated racially, but not like legally segregated. They're just sort of, it's just the way it is. Yeah. So this area is a mix of people, all different people around here, living in here. There's, of all races and shit.
The only thing they got common is no money.
Is they don't have a lot of money, exactly. And this whole area is trailers and apartments.
Okay.
That's the whole area they live in. So
there.
For a long time. Not in Florida, but you either.
Much hotter.
Yeah, here. Just as hot and weird and bad. So now with Hillbilly, Mary said, this is her, wow. Imagine this is your husband and this is how you describe him, your partner in life. Quote, I guess it's a half-assed compliment. Quote, when he wasn't drinking, he wasn't too bad.
Oh, boy.
That's how she starts out, which is right away.
When he's sober, he's not nice, but he's not mean.
He's not the worst. So,
boy, oh boy.
But he drank most of the time.
Yeesh.
And used to mess up quite a bit. Like, I ended up in the hospital a couple times, and he'd hit the kids and stuff, like, just when he was drinking, which was most of the time.
Oh, my.
That's her quote. So he wasn't bad when he wasn't drinking, but he drank all the time, and when he did, he beat the shit out of her and the kids.
Yeah.
But that was only when he was drinking, but most of the time.
Yeah.
So most of the time, he's a monster that beats the shit out of his wife and kids.
And at least 2 times, it got so bad she needed
to go to the hospital, which is an extreme measure for people who don't have a lot of money.
That means she was terrified she was going to die.
Yeah, I avoided the hospital for years because I didn't have health insurance, where I was like, unless I was like, I'm going to die in the next 10 minutes, I was not going to the hospital because I couldn't be in debt for the next 10 years for it. So I was like, well, if I can survive it, I'll stay home. That's how you think. Well, I've been poor for a long time, you know?
I had a job and health insurance, and I still wouldn't go to the hospital unless I was like, I can't survive this alone.
It's desperate, yeah. And I guarantee you he wasn't too encouraging of her going to the hospital because he beat the shit out of her.
Right.
Especially.
Documented now.
One time you can say, I fell down, but after that, it's like, you fell down again and got another black eye?
Got a lot of low
I
doorknobs
don't think
in
so.
your house.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Oh, and also, Hillbilly abused her sexually when he was drunk, too. He'd have his way with her there. In addition to that, it's like it can't get any worse. He's obviously not ideal, to say the fucking least. He's abusive physically, sexually, and every other way, and mentally, and beating the kids. But on top of that, he didn't work. So
what?
If it couldn't get worse, somehow it got worse.
What do you bring?
That's what I'm... Well,
sir?
What are you saying you're so fucking on the edge about is the other thing. You know what I mean? That's always back in the day, in an abusive household, that was the thing that the guy would say. I work hard and I... Well, what the fuck are you saying? You know what I mean?
What would be his Tinder pitch?
What would be in his demented mind? Obviously, it's not an excuse anyway, but in his demented mind, what would be his thing to say, well, that's my reasoning for that? Like,
this is what I do.
It's just, I feel like it because I'm shit-faced, and so I'm going to do it. There's no reasoning for that.
Oh, my.
He said...
And as a woman, you're in that position, and you're just... too scared to leave.
Well, yeah, she explains why she didn't leave too. And,
oh my!
And she would run out of money, or he didn't work. And when Mary worked, but he would spend the money. Of
course.
So then they would run out of money between her paychecks. And when that happened, she said he would maybe work for a day or two doing day labor, quote, so he could get himself a bottle. That's why is the only reason why. He's going to drink just enough to go out, or he's going to work just enough to work a day to go out and get shit-faced that night.
Everybody knows somebody like this. I mean, if you're at a certain economic class, I've known so many of these
I've known this guy.
This guy's horrible.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Yeah. This isn't a guy that you want to be around.
Oh, boy.
And apparently, he's been like this forever, but when they moved to Florida, it got extra bad because, it's Florida.
Because he wants out.
Whatever's in the water down there that affects everybody else affected him too.
Right.
I guess it makes you 20% crazier. And this guy didn't really have a lot of room to go in the north direction as far as crazy went. So things are weird and bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, April 26th, 1986. This is kind of it's a night we're going to go into in some detail. Now, about 7:30 or 8 p.m., Hillbilly arrives home to the trailer, okay? Pulls in. Mary is home with the kids. She's been taking care of the kids in the trailer. He comes in shit-faced. I can't express how drunk this man is. Comes in with a neighbor named Frank Achorn, and Frank says they've been hanging out and drinking since like noon.
Good Lord.
And it's 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they're not drinking casually. They're drinking for results.
Purpose. Yeah.
There's we had some beers and talked and watched the races, and then there's I drank because I was wanting to get fucking drunk, and that's what they're doing. Yeah, it's
drinking for record.
Yeah,
not a bad showing.
It's on like a peeing every 45-minute schedule. That's the level of drinking beer.
God, geez.
You know that schedule?
Oh, I do.
You're like, whoo, boy, man, do I have to pee again?
I'm gonna wait for this commercial break. I can't wait.
It's possible.
That's the worst.
Yeah. When it's
too
much liquid. That's why I don't get it. I can't drink. don't get when people could sit and drink a 12-pack of beer.
It's a lot.
I'm like, you feel so bloated
so
and
full.
Constantly pissing. Yeah. It's like, what am I doing? This is terrible. You could drink just a little bit of booze and have the same result. I don't
Sometimes
get it.
In the middle of our shows, I've got a piss where like, and then we're still talking about a murder, and I was like, oh my God, we haven't gotten to a court yet. I'm in a lot of trouble.
And then sometimes you'll just go, we got to stop.
I got to go.
I got to go to the bathroom. You'll just run upstairs.
I'm really sorry, James.
Okay.
I'm irresponsible.
Yeah, mark that. I'm just like, mark that down.
I'm not a mature man.
We'll be back in a minute.
I'm a child.
It'd be funny if we left that in. Then we'll be back in a minute. And then just come back to it. Okay, I'm back. If it didn't interrupt the flow of the stories, not that this doesn't, but still.
I'm so sorry.
This says it's fucking, that's great. No, it's, you have to piss. So Hillbilly is shit-faced.
Yeah.
And he's had, like I said, 45 minutes piss schedule kind of a day.
Yeah.
And Mary says that when Hillbilly was drunk, she says, quote, you know what was good for you didn't do. You know what was good for you didn't say no to him. That's what he said. You know what's good for you.
Yeah.
You just stayed out of his way.
Yeah.
He's looking for a reason to tee off on somebody when he's drunk. So you stay. That's not a life to live.
No.
That's a horrible life to sit and hold your breath when you hear the car coming in to hope he's not drunk enough to where you have to fucking like shuffle the kids out of the room quickly and like try to act like you're going to like, that's a horrible life.
Brutal, man.
That's living like a goddamn, like a fucking captive. That's terrible, man. Holy shit. Apparently she had said no to him in the past a few times when he had told her to do things when he was drunk, and he would beat the shit out of her for it. He hurt her bad a few times, and she said she learned over time that it was easier to agree with him than to fight with him. So he completely broke this poor woman's fucking spirit, basically, with this shit. And also, friends and neighbors said they would just have to, at times, just go, yeah, okay, Ireland, all right, Hillbilly, whatever you say, man, just to get him to shut the fuck up. It wasn't just the wife. I'm talking grown people that lived around. Everybody did it. He was like a tornado.
I get that it's an alcoholic's dream to have people submit to them, but as a dude, how's that attractive?
I don't understand.
How is just having people serve a purpose in your life? How's that?
What you mean to him?
Yeah. There's nothing hotter than a woman that says no.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
What's the well?
I mean, because it incites a conversation.
Jimmy doesn't mean it's funny because he's not going to listen and plow right through. That's completely not what he wants. Ladies and gentlemen, my partner, who's going to say my partner, Bill Cosby over here. I don't know what else to.
It just makes life so much more fun.
Andrew Jackson raped somebody.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah, so who knows? Anyway, I get what you're saying. No, you don't want somebody who's not a fucking person.
Yeah.
That's why. You want a person with a mind. Yeah. When someone says no, that means they have a thought.
Right.
And then they're going to tell you their thought.
Oh, I can't wait to hear why.
And you engage with them, and that's kind of what relationships are supposed to be about. Like, then you go, oh, wow, I really like the way that person thinks. And that's why you get with that person, stay with them for a long time, because you found someone who, when they go no, they say something that you're interested in.
Right.
That's the point.
Tell me why.
Exactly. That's the fucking point. That's a relationship.
Unless that no is just to be a pain in the ass, and that's why I'm divorced.
Exactly. That's why we are over here with a divorce apiece lined up for us. So there's 2 divorces in the studio.
You got it.
Yeah. So it happens. So, I mean, and I don't know what Mary's upbringing must have been to end up to choose Hillbilly. And then be like, this is fine.
Right.
You know, I get the time is different, and also the culture's different as well. You know, I don't know if it's I know a lot of times domestic violence, you know, took a lot longer to have a stigma in the rural areas, and that's just a fact. Right. It just had
life is
because there's less people around, so it was hidden more, and it wasn't a out in the open thing. So I mean, we all have heard of these towns, these small towns that have rules where it's legal to beat your wife on the courthouse steps, and that's all. There's towns that have these like silly arcane rules from
rule of thumb, and all that
from all that shit. Yeah. So it's like I don't know if it's in the culture or if she was brought up in an abusive environment and then looked for that to not on purpose, but her brain. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he would hurt her bad sometimes. And even like I said, even the friends and neighbors would just stay out of his way. Like there wasn't even a friend that was like, yo, fuck you, hillbilly. Yeah. I'm not taking your shit. Everyone was just like, don't even bother. He's going to take a swing at you. So unless you're as drunk as him, you don't really want to deal with it. It's easier to just say whatever.
Is he a big guy?
Yeah, he's a big guy. Okay. He's a big guy. But I mean, not he's not Hulk Hogan. He's not. I don't know why we're bringing up 80s wrestling so much today, but that was in my head, so I brought up
I saw the Big Show in my head, so it's
no. I'm thinking because I brought up Vince, and that made me think of like 80s era Hulk Hogan flexing, because it's 86 right now in the story. That's where my head's at.
I just picture big man. I go Big Show.
Yeah.
But if he's a mountain of a man, sometimes if you're just cutting your lawn and he's got something to say, and you're just like, sure, man, whatever, bro.
He's not somebody that you just feel. He's going to be a handful to deal with. If you got a problem, he's going to want to fight with you, and he's drunk, so he's not going to listen to reason or understand that he's hurt and stay down. So that's another problem.
He hits the things he loves. I don't mean shit to this guy.
Yeah,
this could go terribly.
Yeah. So it got to the point where Mary was just at the end of her rope. She didn't know what to do anymore. She said that at one point during this whole thing, her friends said that she started to tell them that she became angry enough to wish that he was dead.
Oh.
She started saying that I just wish he was dead. I wish he was gone. I wish he was dead. She said at one point to somebody, quote, I mean, my friends, they knew, but I didn't actually talk to anybody till 1986. So she kept it to herself. And then in like this 86 up till April, she started talking to people about it, telling her friends about it. And they were like, dude, get the fuck away from this guy.
Would you put up with it?
Yeah. Take the kids and, stay with me, stay with your mom, stay anywhere but with this asshole. But she was afraid of him. I mean, that's all there is to it. And a couple weeks, mid-April, kind of beginning of April, she had a conversation with a neighbor of hers named John Edwards. Not that John Edwards.
Okay.
His nickname, he's got a nickname, of course, too.
God damn it.
And it's just perfect. His nickname?
Yeah.
Bud.
Okay.
We got Hillbilly and Bud.
John Edwards.
John Edwards. John Bud Edwards.
That's definitely not the guy that talks to the dead.
Now, you're either picturing the guy who talks to the dead, that fucking fraud,
right,
or the other one,
who left his
cancer-stricken wife
for some chicken like Argentina
to run away with. No, that was the guy in South Carolina. That was Mark Sanford. Different guy. He went to go hang out in South America with his girlfriend. Right. No. I'm talking about this. It was one of his campaign staffers.
There you go.
Yeah. So John Edwards, you're thinking.
And both of them are pocket size.
Yeah.
Both John Edwards.
That weird hair.
Yeah.
So moved when he. Yeah. So
it's either that or a guy that claims. Bud and John Edwards both talk to the dead the same amount is the real thing.
That's the thing. See, yes, if possible, a man, the John Edwards talk to the dead. John Edwards is more full of shit than a man who ran for president twice. Right. Which you have to be somewhat full of shit to run for anything. Yeah. So I mean. Just more than your average human, than to just be able to act like you're happy to be somewhere. I don't even mean in your policies. I just mean to go, it's so great of everyone to come out, when you're just like, why the fuck am I in the middle of nowhere with you fucking hicks? This sucks. I don't want to be here.
I want to fuck my campaign
manager. I went to college.
Right.
Do you understand? Not me, obviously. I would assume that's what someone would think if they actually were educated. I don't know. I can't put myself in the mind of someone who's actually done the right things in life. I really can't. I don't know what. I just think they must think like I did things right, and you haven't.
Somebody had a college fund.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Somebody left the house and their parents handed them a check,
or they knew how to fill out paperwork for loans. Either one. Either way, you got me beat. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know either one of those. So a couple weeks into April, like I said, she talks to Bud Edwards. Only thing about Bud of note is, we'll talk about Bud a little more detail, but Bud is a black guy, which not usually part of their normal circle, but he's a neighbor of theirs, and they started hanging out with him.
Okay.
So Hillbilly apparently isn't real racist anyway, so that's a positive, I guess.
Based on geography, anybody could be his friend.
But that's what it is. He doesn't really give a shit. But most of his friends are like hardcore rednecks, so if they see him with him, they're like, "What are you doing with him?" You know what I mean? He's just like, "That's my neighbor." Hillbilly doesn't give a shit. So according to her, This is what she says, Mary, later on, quote, "I don't know how we got started talking, but I just said that sometimes I wish he was dead. And Bud said that he knew people that got rid of people.
Oh.
But I said I didn't have that kind of money, because I didn't. And he said I wouldn't need money."
Oh.
Nope, wouldn't need money at all.
I know people that make people disappear. I don't have that kind of money. She's right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing she said so far that's dead on accurate.
And he said you don't need that kind of money because there's other ways you can pay.
How's that?
We'll find out. Let's see here. And then we'll find out what ends up happening, because does anything ever happen as planned in the show?
Never.
So anybody could end up dead here. Right. So then this night, like we said, he came home with his friend. That's how we started this. Shit-faced, drinking all day, pissing every 45 minutes. Okay. He gets home. As soon as he gets home, Mary sees the headlights and grabs the kids and takes them to bed.
Smart.
Kids, time to go to bed. Let's go. She can tell he's shit-faced. He's been gone all day.
Right.
You know, when he
swerved in the driveway.
Well, when he hangs out with that guy, he's been drinking.
Clipped the front of the trailer.
Yeah, he shook it. Poof.
Right.
Daddy's home. As it fucking rocks back and forth.
It's gonna go bad, guys.
TV reception fucking
came in,
goes out. Yeah. Oh, I can see.
Damn it.
Tell Daddy to hit the house again. So she said, quote, she put them to bed, quote, because when he was drunk like that, if they just made one little noise or something he didn't like, he would just get onto them. So I tried to put them to bed before he got a hold of them.
Oh, no.
A hold of them.
Yuck.
So she knows the kids are going to talk, and he's going to lash out. Yeah. After a while, his drinking partner, Frank, left. And after he left, that's when Bud Edwards. So that's when Bud and Bud's girlfriend come over. Mm-hmm. Bud's got a girlfriend named Sharon Brown. And Sharon and Mary are very close. Okay. They talk all the time. That's kind of one of her main confidants. And that's kind of how Bud got looped into this conversation. Is he heard about what was going on. He knew anyway. He's one of their neighbors. He hangs out with them. He's seen Hillbilly in action. Right. So it's not a stretch. It's not like, really?
Yeah.
Wow, they see
those two?
Weird. When we went out to dinner the other night with them, they seemed, they did argue about red or white wine, but other than that, I thought they seemed like a really good couple. I don't understand. She was having fish. I get why she wanted the white, but everyone else at the table was having red sauce. So, you got to compromise sometimes.
Right.
Just get a glass. I was on his side, honestly, but now that I see this is terrible. No.
I'm upset that I contributed to his drinking that beat her that night. That's fucked up.
This is fucked. So that's obviously terrible. So they sit around. This is the two couples sitting around talking, and Hillbilly is still drinking pretty hard. They're watching a Kirk Douglas movie on TV. We never get to find out.
Damn it.
And I have looked, oh my God, this was covered in no newspapers for somehow, or none of them are available now in the multiple newspaper archives I have access to. And so I've had to dig in and I found these really detailed court documents from, there's a lot of digging, but that's how I found this case at all, because it's really not out there anywhere. So I looked everywhere for what movie this was, but I couldn't find it.
TV Guide at that time would be nice.
Oh, I'd love August. You can find it.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think to just look that up?
TV Guide.
I looked for an hour and a half.
Don't look for them to mention it. You look for what's playing. Son of a bitch. I wish I was here. I'm sorry.
Oh, I've been so tired. Normally I would have thought of that. I've been so tired. I'm like, where is this movie?
I was sitting at home watching TV, banging my head against a wall.
April 26, 1986, TV Guide. I don't know if it could have been on a local channel. That could have been on a local, but
it would still be on there.
If you were from a Sarasota area, tell me what fucking movie that was. Or I can just look it up after the show. By the time I post it, it'll be out there. So don't tweet it. But
tweet it to me.
No, don't
Send
do
it to my
that.
messages.
We'll figure it out.
I want to see.
I'll tell you right when this is done. We'll look it up because I'm going to find it. So they're watching this, and apparently Hillbilly made the comment that he also had a dimple in his chin, like a
butt chin?
Yeah. Like Kirk Douglas.
Oh, okay.
He said, but you can't see it because of my big beard.
Right.
Because I'm Hillbilly.
Okay, so you just have to trust me.
So, yeah. So at this point, he starts, this is insane, he starts telling everybody how Kirk Douglas is a real man, and everybody's a pussy now, and nobody's a real man anymore, but he's a real man.
Oh, boy.
And to prove He's a real man. He's going to fuck his wife in front of you people against her will in the living room.
No.
In front of the neighbors.
That doesn't show me anything.
That is one of the... I don't know how 1 + 1 equals fucking sexually attack your wife in the living room in front of your friends. Like that's a
lot of show me your dick, sir. No,
it's a lot of math equation there that goes into that. So yeah, they said this is from Mary, quote, and one thing led to another, and he tried to pull my pajamas off because he was going to show Bud and Sherry how a real man done it. That's exact words recorded. Right in front of her company, he was going to do it to me. And Sharon, she got up and she said she wasn't going to stay there and watch me be humiliated like that.
Good.
He wouldn't quit, and I tried to hang on. I really did. I just tried to hang on to my pajamas, and he just kept pulling them and pulling them.
God, no.
So this is what I mean. This isn't funny.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you fuck around as a couple where you'd be like, come on now, sweetheart, but you wouldn't actually try to fucking take their clothes off or try to, like, you know, do something that you would humiliate them.
Kirk Douglas wouldn't do that.
You know, we don't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
Back then, though, he probably could have and he could have such a long line of people. We have no idea. Yeah. But he seemed like an okay guy.
Well,
but you never know. Like
now
I said,
he's dead, so we'll never know.
Well, you never know. He could have been all over everybody with his flat top.
He's dead, right?
Yeah, he just died, actually, like last year. Remember when we killed him off at a live show?
We killed him at a live show.
I was like, yeah, Kirk Douglas, but he's dead. And we started talking, and people were like, he's not dead.
Not dead.
He's not dead. And like half the crowd, we were like, he's not dead. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I go, he's got to be 100. And we looked it up. He was 102. I'm like, it was a good guess to think he'd be dead by now.
Of all people, that's
odds
the one.
are he wouldn't have made it this far. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me to say he's dead is most of the time, 98% of the time, I'm right on that one, I'm going to say. So, took a guess.
And really, if you told me he was dead, I'd be like, yeah, he probably died around the same time Bob Barker died.
Again, that's what I mean. We always get it wrong. We don't know who's dead or alive. Did he finally die?
No.
Oh, he's still alive.
The guy is crushing.
He doesn't know where he is.
No, he doesn't. Anyway, he doesn't know he's alive.
No, he's not sure about it, but he's still pinching asses everywhere he goes. So a little background on Bud here. Mm-hmm. Bud and Sharon. Now, John Bud Edwards is a guy that everybody likes. John Bud Edwards has an 8th grade education, so not real good as far as that goes. Which fine. We don't know. He comes from a family with 7 kids, and they were poor family. So we don't know if he had to work or we don't know what his circumstances are for that. But we do know that in 1975. A mere 11 years earlier, he was convicted for 2nd-degree murder.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he is a convicted murderer.
And he's out.
And he is, at this point, on parole for the murder that he committed. So he is a literally a paroled murderer with an 8th grade education, and he's the nice guy at this point in time.
And you're raping in front of him.
Yeah, and he's looking at you like he's looking down on you.
Right. He's judging your bullshit behavior.
Yeah. 8th grade educated murder parolee is looking at you side-eyed like this fucking scumbag. Think about that.
Right.
That's the level of debauched shitbag Hillbilly was, okay? Is acting like in front of everybody, you know, whatever. We don't know what's in his heart, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Doing it for love.
Yeah. Good God. And all the neighbors say Bud's a great guy. Bud is one of the more popular guys in the neighborhood as far as people liking him, trusting him. One neighbor says that, quote, but first of all, there's always a bunch of fighting in the trailer park.
Of course.
Like literally the neighbors are always doing this. Listen to this quote from one of the neighbors. Bud was not like that, you know? Quote, Bud was always the one that stopped the fighting around the court. You know, everybody was always fist fighting and getting drunk, and he always stopped it. So that's who he is, though. Yeah. But he's the guy who's like, he's the voice of reason. He's going around, come on, guys. You're fist fighting in the middle of the street in a trailer park. I
do not miss that.
Dude.
They do. It is constant.
Oh, it's got
people shouting at other people because they're shouting inside their trailer. We can all fucking hear it. Shut up. Trying to watch the show.
When I lived in that apartment that we first started recording in, it was like, every night.
Every night.
It's
everybody's stuff.
It was fucking insanity outside. There was people yelling and screaming and fighting. And then there was like a party in the street. And then there was fucking those dudes fucking outside my window at the one point. I'm like, what's going on out here? And I'm like, oh my God, there's
We got to move.
Right under the fucking... They were just... I don't care who's fucking, men, women, it doesn't matter. They were fucking right under the street lamp. I'm like, you could move up 10 feet and you're in the dark. That's on purpose. Those motherfuckers are trying to display themselves. This is crazy. This neighborhood's... Anybody fucking in the light when you could be fucking in a shaded area where no one could see you... There's something wrong there, right?
People above me in my apartment fucked like clockwork once a month, and they sounded like Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin pretending to be ghosts in Beetlejuice. We're just like, what is that? What are they? That is legit. They are. That feels like it's on purpose.
Is she coming or haunting the house? What's happening?
Finish already.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. I can't sleep.
Oh, my God.
I feel like I should be kicking indoors, dressed in black, telling her to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. So, oh, my God. So, anyway, they're all sitting in here. Sharon Brown leaves, and it's down to the three of them. It's Bud, and it's Mary, and it's Hillbilly.
And he's trying.
So, finally, Hillbilly kind of staggered off of her, and the way it was put by them, staggered kind of away and stopped at that point, trying to sexually assault her. He would have had to basically beat her and attack her, and it was even a bridge too far, even for this fucking lunatic in front of somebody, I guess. So he does that. Mary says she was more than upset, is the way she put it at this point, as I don't blame her for being more than upset. I'm embarrassed and attacked and all that kind of shit. So it's at this point that Hillbilly says, I want to go to the bar. We're going to the bar. It's 10 o'clock at night.
And you just left there.
Yeah, he's shit-faced, and she is not, but the kids are sleeping. So, if you want to go to a bar, I guess walk or take a taxi, which you don't have money for.
No Uber.
That's what I mean. Call a taxi or something. He wants to go to the water hole, which is up in Oneko, which is, I looked it up, is about 20 minutes from here.
Wow.
Yeah, he's about 20 minutes away at this bar up in Oneko, which was kind of in the middle of nowhere at the time. So now it's filled in a lot. So he's saying that. We're going to the water hole in Oneko, and let's go. And she said, I'm not fucking going to the bar with you. The kids are sleeping.
Yeah.
It's night's over. Like, you've had enough. You're plenty of drunk. Yeah. You're liquored up, but he was out of booze. So he wanted to go to the water hole. So Mary said, I'm not going. So then he says, to Bud, you take me. Let's go to the water hole. And Bud's like, oh, no, my girl just left, and I got to go see my girl. Mm-hmm. She's going to be mad if I now have to go out with you. We're going to go, whatever. So I'll go do that. So then he starts asking other neighbors that are hanging out outside, because I guess it's probably hot. Yeah. Even though it's April, that's probably like a good time to sit outside your trailer in Florida.
10 p.m.?
Yeah, it's probably when it's cool, and it's probably a good time to sit outside your trailer, because it's going to get real hot in the next couple months. Right. So late April. So there's a bunch of people outside, and Hillbilly's going around to person, asking people, want to go to the water hole? You drive? And they've all been drinking, everybody around here. So everyone's fucking shit-faced. Everyone's sitting outside drinking. So they're all like, I'm drunk. Got plenty here. I don't need to go to no bar. That's the consensus of everybody. Sure. So, he finally comes back, and this is a quote from Mary. Jesus Christ, man. This is episode 196 of Small Town Murder. We've had a lot of crazy people saying crazy things, people doing crazy things. Listen to this, okay? This is a top 5 moment here. This is Mary. Quote, and he come back, and he told me I had 5 minutes to get my clothes on and get the kids in the car, or he was going to take the kids and just go.
Gruesome.
Take the kid.
Yeah.
He's going to take the kids.
Right. If you don't go, I'm going to endanger the shit out of our children. Yeah,
exactly. You're going to drive me, or I'll take the kids and go crash the car into a tree because I'm too drunk to drive. Not, I'll just go myself, and if I crash and kill myself, fine. Right. I'll take the kids.
What's the logic? It's to punish her, obviously.
It's to make her take him. Right. Because otherwise, I'll take the kids, and I'm too drunk, and I'll crash in a goddamn tree. What do you think of that? Now you have to go. Right. See? And she was like, Jesus Christ, this is a fucking nightmare. Mm-hmm. He's literally saying, I'll hurt the kids if you don't take me to a bar, is pretty much what he's saying. Because that's
more drunk.
To get more drunk, and then I'll drive home again with the kids.
And then probably beat you up.
And then, I'll probably be mad that I had to watch the kids all night and you weren't there, so expect a beating when I get home. This is the type of life this is. This is crazy. So she said that he was going to take the kids and just go. Quote, I couldn't let my kids out the door with him and him drunk. He could have killed them. Yeah. Yes. Right. Her whole thing is trying to protect her kids. So Mary said, okay, I'll do it. So she was going to bed. Right. She's in her pajamas. Think about that.
Do you drop him off there? Because you have to give him a ride home now.
Think about that, in her pajamas, relaxing in her home, not relaxing, but in her home watching a movie, and now all of a sudden she's got to get clothes on. She wrapped the kids up in blankets to take them and put them in the car. They have a sand-colored 1975 Cadillac. Okay. So a fucking boat.
Oh, it's 13 years old, too.
75. Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah, my grandmother had like a 76, and it's probably longer than the trailer, put it that way. Like if it's
a sedan,
it
could be the coupe, and even
the Coupe de Ville that's what my grandmother had. It was a fucking it was 50 feet long.
Coupe just means 2 doors, not 4.
Yeah, it's still
long as
two longer doors. Yeah. Too. They were just 2.
Right,
dude. Those Cadillac doors,
2 doors as long as 4.
Yeah, hers was 2-tone green.
Hell yeah.
So it was like metallic mint on top with the dark green on bottom. Money leather green seats.
Stop it.
Swear to God. This was her prized possession. She kept it in the garage, only took it out if they were going to see the relatives to show off. All the Italians, they moved over here, if they did even half okay, they'd all get like one nice car that they could bring to gatherings to show. Like, look at me, I'm successful.
Right.
So there's all the immigrants, this is what they did. So yeah, that car was so fucking big, and it had these doors because it was a coupe.
Yeah.
And they were so long, Jimmy.
You can't open that on a New York street.
Oh, God, you'll take out
traffic.
2 lanes of traffic if you're downtown there, if you're like in Mulberry or something. I slammed my hand in one of those things once. I swear it still hurts. I was like 4. These fucking doors, you could hear them when they slammed. They were like, it was like a fucking bank vault door closing.
Sounds like a train smash.
It's what it did. It was crazy. So they loads the kids up in the 75 Cadillac to drive through the night. It's 10-something at night. Mm-hmm. She drives Ireland to the water hole. Now she's not dropping him off. She's got to go in and sit there with him while he drinks.
With kids in the car?
With kids in the bar.
Oh,
not kids in the car. They're all going to go inside, and he's going to get shit-faced, and then she's going to drive him home. These poor kids, they don't want to be here.
No.
So, after he goes in. After 5 minutes, he comes out of the bar and says that they won't allow kids in after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because the kitchen's closed and we don't allow kids.
And that's the law.
He's pissed, though. He's super mad. He's like, these fucking assholes. I come here all the time. Won't let my goddamn kids in.
Come November, we're voting this shit out.
Yeah, there's going to be a new law about bars and kids. The kids can go in bars anytime they want. Especially after 8 p.m. They're extra allowed into bars then.
I'm going to get a law on the ballot says daycare's in the bar.
It's in the bar.
Right.
And bars, you have to provide daycare and allow kids in anytime, and they can work off the drinks that their daddy had been done drinking. That's also a rule. You can put them to work, and it's 1 drink per hour of child labor. So I have 2 kids, so I can drink 2 drinks for free per hour they work. I done did the math.
I've done the math, and it works out.
It works out. So he comes back out here. Oh my God, saying, okay, no kids in the goddamn place after, obviously after 8. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
The clock. So they end up going to the ABC liquor store where he buys a bottle of liquor and a bottle of 7-Up.
Okay.
So instead of going in the bar, he's like, fuck it, I'll just buy liquor and drink it at home. Okay, now, on the way back, he's hungry. Hillbilly got a hankering.
Yeah.
So he's hankering. What does he want? Mickey D's.
Of course.
Because it's open, too, and it's open. They got a drive-thru. So they go to the drive-thru of McDonald's, and he causes a scene at the drive-thru of McDonald's, Jimmy.
He's drunk.
Hillbilly is such an asshole. Oh, my God. So,
shouting his order from the passenger seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want... Does this bitch fucking hear me? She can hear you, Hillbilly, please. She didn't answer me when I said I wanted vagina on it.
Yeah, this is Hillbilly.
Y'all know me.
The usual, please.
The usual. So they were told because in rural areas where there's not a ton of orders at McDonald's, if you order late at night, they make you go wait because they have to make it.
Right.
Because no one has been there for 10 minutes, so all the food would be bad. Yeah. So they can only sit there for 5 minutes or some shit.
Up,
so
please, we'll get you your order.
They said, no problem, 5 minutes if you just pull up over there. Well,
oh boy,
Hillbilly was not having that shit at all.
Y'all said fast food.
He pulled a Jim Cornette.
Oh, boy.
Where we've talked about this, Jim Cornette, the wrestling manager. If you want some entertainment, look up Jim Cornette, Dairy Queen, on YouTube, and just find Jim Cornette yelling at a Dairy Queen employee. It was after a wrestling show late at night. They were driving. It was the only thing open in a small town.
He wants a blizzard.
So he freaks out on this lady, loses his fucking mind, right? And she says, quote, and he cussed that lady out something awful. And he said he'd just go home and I could cook. And that's fine. I just wanted to go home anyway.
Why she?
So,
this poor. Oh my God!
Now
everything in his life that's a travesty. He's got. That's fine. Y'all out of gas? I'll make her refine some shit at home. Fucking get to work.
She'll brew it up. Stick that damn shit in the ground and make oil come up, and then refine it into a petroleum product.
Car's got a quarter tank. Hurry up.
Jesus fucking Christ.
We drive a Cadillac.
She's lazy. Car's out of gas. Lazy. Doesn't want to refine it. That's what happens. So, it goes from I'm in my pajamas to now I have to get the kids in the car. We have to drive you to the bar. Oh, now we have to go to the liquor store. Oh, we'll stop at McDonald's. 5 minutes, no problem. Okay, fine. I'll just cook when we get home.
Oh, boy.
This is a nightmare of a night, and this isn't like an abnormal evening, neither. Right. So she said, I just wanted to go home. I didn't even care. I just wanted to get out of the car, get the kids into bed. So it was about 11:30 when they get home, okay? It's at this point, not the point when he was at a liquor store where this product is available. It is now that he goes, oh, I'm out of cigarettes.
Oh, no.
I'm out of cigarettes.
Oh, Jesus.
So if you're her, how do you not just go, that's it? I know I put up with enough. I put up with all. But for some reason, you not being smart enough to foresee you needed cigarettes and buy them at the liquor store is enough, and I'm done with you.
It's fine. I'll roll them at home.
Yeah, I'll just grow some tobacco and roll them for you, and that's fine. It's ridiculous. So he told Mary to walk over to the gas station at 11:30 at night to get him more.
I am exhausted for her.
So am I.
I want a nap.
Yeah,
just from hearing about her.
Walk to the gas station and get me more cigarettes. She's like, okay, I'll do it. If that's what it. Because she just keeps thinking, if I do this one more thing, that'll be enough, and they'll leave me alone and whatever. But there's just keeps being more and more and more. So he gives her a $20 bill. She goes up. There's an alley, and you walk through it. So you want to send your wife through the fucking alley at midnight.
Thank you for giving me my money back to buy this, and then sending me on my dangerous path.
And then here's something that someone can steal from you after they murder you in the alley. That's perfect. Thanks. Like it's midnight. Go get your own fucking cigarettes through the goddamn alley. If someone's gonna kill somebody, it should be you fucking idiot. So
already my money.
Anyway, she goes up through the alley to the station, buys the cigarettes, returns safely. Everyone's like, oh no, she's going to die in an alley. That's not how this happens. Returns with $18 change. Cigarettes were cheap back then. So when she got back, when she got back, Bud's there.
Okay.
So
in the car?
No, in the trailer.
Okay.
So she gets back and there's Bud. He must have been outside, and Hillbilly, hey Bud, get on in here. Fucking drink with me.
I got a bottle.
I got cigarettes coming. You want her to go out and get you anything? So it's more accurate than
about to have a feast over here.
Oh, she's cooking. You want some?
Cook.
Shit. When she got back, Bud's there. It's at this point that Hillbilly goes, let's go back out again. Can you?
I hate him.
Don't you just want to knock him out cold and go, okay.
Why do you have so much energy when you're drunk?
That's what I mean.
What have you done?
This is why nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Nobody, because he's a fucking asshole. Oh. He's just this. You know who he is? He is exactly Dwight Yoakam in Sling Blade.
Yeah.
He is Dwight Yoakam and it's exactly how he acts. Oh, we're gonna have a party then, and everybody's gonna lock it. And they have
the boys coming over.
Yeah, you sit there and listen to us play our shitty music, and then yell at the guys in the band for not being better, and fucking push a guy in a wheelchair.
Make everybody leave and then make.
I won't say what he yelled at everyone when he leaves. I'll keep that one to myself. Then I used the Jim Cornette one. That's probably even worse. I'll keep that one to myself.
Bastards. What does he say?
It's.
Oh boy, yeah.
He
went really hard.
He went hard. He went hard on a couple of groups. Real bad. So I'm going to keep that one locked and loaded. Watch Sling Blade's a great movie.
One of the best.
I don't think Dwight Yoakam is like that in real life. No. So wonderful acting on his part. But an absolute monster, and this is exactly, he's Doyle. This is who Hillbilly is. So, he wanted to go out again. She says, quote, he got in his head he wanted to go out again, and I said I wasn't going, but he just kept right on, and he said he could go without me because he had a key, but he dropped it down the side of the couch, and he didn't have a key ring or nothing, and he just kept it, and he just kept on and on.
Who's got a loose house key?
Loose car key.
Car key.
He's got a Lucy. Just a Lucy.
Just wanders around with the square GM key.
Yeah, no key ring. And he dropped it down the side of the couch and was too drunk to find it. So now he's like, oh, no, I can't drive now you're definitely driving me. And she's saying no, and he keeps going on. And I'm sorry to do a Southern accent when she's quoting, but it's the way her syntax is. It's impossible almost. I sound like I'm making fun of her if I don't use sort of her own accent almost. Then it sounds like he did not do that. It sounds like I'm
what's coming to you is not done in a non-regional diction.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
You talk like
he just kept right on. Right. Sounds like he just kept right on. If I say it doesn't sound right. It sounds like I'm can't broad newscaster that.
Yeah. And then he kept right on.
The guy doesn't
say that.
He kept right on.
Guy doesn't.
He
talk
kept
like
breaking my fucking colluns over and over again. This fucking guy over, and he's like, "Hey, you gonna take me to the bar?" I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here! You want to go to the bar as the fucking car crash and die for all I give a fucking shit."
They don't say it.
Yeah, it's different.
He kept right on.
He kept right on. So yeah, kept on and on. She's visibly upset. Bud can see this. Bud's there also. This poor bastard has to witness this. Nobody wants to see that. Finally, she said she just threw the keys at him, and she said, just go, just get out, go wherever, I don't care. But he wanted Bud to come too. Mm-hmm. So this whole thing happened. He got the keys. He's like, all right, Bud, come on. Bud's like, I'm
so sorry, man.
I just was outside, and I don't want to go anywhere. Like, it's midnight, I don't want to do anything like that. So, yeah, Hillbilly wants Bud out with him, though, and he does not want to go out with Hillbilly. Bud doesn't. He's not into it. However, Mary kind of was like giving him eyes like, please, it'll get him away and he apparently at that point felt bad for her. And basically she said she just thought, this would be in her mind, she looked at it as this is a good way to get rid of him for the night. You know what I mean? So this is a good time to get rid of him. Perfect. You take him out. He wants to go and he doesn't want me involved.
Yeah.
Please.
He's going willingly.
Yeah. So eventually Bud says, all right, fine, I'll go with you. Fine. So they first go to a neighborhood poker game.
Yeah.
A trailer park.
Yeah, let's not call it neighborhood.
Post-midnight trailer park, fucking trailer park poker game.
It's not good.
No, with a guy named Hillbilly and a convicted parolee murderer named Bud. This game is. That sounds terrible. That's awful. Humid, sticky.
It's not a fair game. Somebody's cheating.
Someone's cheating somebody.
Yeah.
Either way, the cards are sticky and it's gross. So they go there, and then eventually, after some more drinking, Bud and Hillbilly return to the residence. So, yeah, they return there. Now, once this all happens, Jesus Christ, this is wild. Before they left, he said that basically when Bud agreed to go, Hillbilly was starting to get aggressive toward Mary as far as, I'm going to drag you, you're going to fucking go, and it was all that sort of thing. Finally, Bud said he would take him, but he said he had to put his shoes on first, and Bud got up to leave to put his shoe. Why he came over to somebody's house with no shoes on is beyond me. So once he goes to get it, he's going to get his shoes. This is when Hillbilly followed him outside and called him a liar and said he wouldn't come back. And he was saying, you're a liar. You ain't going to come back. And he followed him to the door, and Mary followed him out followed out Hillbilly saying, will you calm down? And then Hillbilly and Hillbilly and Bud ended up going to another person's apartment nearby and whatever. Mary goes back inside, and Bud and they go out. Okay, so they're going out. Now, when they get back, which we'll say where they went in a minute, but when they get back, Mary says that Hillbilly told me to fix him a drink. So I did.
Okay.
And then he got started up about wanting to go again, and he got up and kind of staggered a little bit. I kind of caught him. I got used to that. One time I caught him and I fell over with him. He was a lot bigger than I am, but he went out the front door, the one toward the road. That's where the car was. He told me to help him get to the car. This is the next, Jesus Christ. So I did. And by the time we got to the car, he was mad at me again.
Because he went through a roller coaster of emotions.
Jesus Christ. And he said he would do it himself. He asked her to take him to the car, and he's like, get off me. I don't need your help. You, okay?
Yeah.
I was inside.
Yeah.
I was happy to be inside. And he said, and I opened the door, and he got in. And I shut the car door, and I gave him his glass, I think. So he took his mixed drink in a glass with him in the car. Shit-faced. He's going,
he's already drunk.
There we go.
Yeah.
Here you go, sweetheart, and gives him a glass in there.
Fingers crossed he runs that shit into a canal.
Yeah, she said, I gave him a glass, I think. Then she says, no, I gave him a bottle.
No,
not a glass.
Goddamn thing.
A bottle. He left the glass. He didn't want it. He said he was going to drink it straight. So he's like, I don't need that. That's for pussies. I'll take the bottle. So he's going to cruise down the road in a giant Cadillac swigging from a fucking liquor bottle.
Just like Kirk Douglas.
Just exactly like Kirk Douglas. Swaggering around. You fucking know it.
Man.
Oh, he's a man. Just that's what Kirk Douglas did.
Yeah. Got
drunk and pillaged and then tried to rape his wife in front of people.
Jumped in the car with a bottle of J&B.
That's how it worked.
Eesh.
So, he ends up, Bud ends up out there again. Okay. So she sees that and Hillbilly yells to her to bring Bud out a drink. Bring Bud out a drink. So she brought a drink out, gave it to him. He was sitting on the hood of the car. He didn't get in the car. He was just sitting on the hood of the car while Bud was inside the car. And he walked around to the side of the trailer.
Hillbilly was in the car.
Hillbilly was in the car, so I meant Bud's on the hood. He starts walking away. Mary goes back to her apartment, and that's when she could hear Hillbilly yelling for Bud to come back again. It's just this fucking nonstop shit. She said she could hear the car door shut, but she didn't recall whether she heard it start or not. She just heard a car door shut. She didn't know if Hillbilly got out or Bud got in or what the fuck happened. She said she went in, shut the door, put the chain lock on,
so him out.
Bud wouldn't come home that night, hopefully, unless he broke the door down, which sometimes he would just go sleep in the car or something, sleep it off. And then she said she laid down on the couch and dozed off.
Okay.
Imagine that sleep must have been...
All she did was exhale, and then she woke up.
That's what I'm saying. So now Bud and Hillbilly are out.
Yeah.
So they are out, and there's a couple guys named Jeffrey Burrell, who's actually known as Jeffrey Walters throughout this entire case.
Wild.
As we'll find out. And he's got an AKA here. So Jeffrey Walters, he and James Norman.
Oh, you know what? He's probably just got a huge cock and goes by Burl, like Milton.
But
it's probably
Burrell, like Pat, like the baseball player, not
I thought
Burl.
He always shows it, so they just call him Burl.
Hey, I'm a big cock. So him and James Norman went to the Quick Stop gas station around midnight on April 26th. While getting gas, they because they had gone out to pick up a TV set.
Yeah.
At midnight.
In the fuck is happening?
This is the area we're dealing with. This is a place where people go to, quote, pick up a TV set at midnight.
Shithoused.
You don't get a major electronic component at midnight usually. No. It's just not normal.
No, and that's an expenditure that generally doesn't. That's a 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
That's a
thing.
Sunday afternoon purchase. Saturday, Saturday at 2 purchase.
Go out and find out about the new ones.
Yeah. You gotta
get some information. I gotta take some pamphlets home.
Hold on, I'm gonna look some of this stuff up.
Think this one over.
Yeah. So they went out to get a TV. And Norman, one of the guys there, there's Norman and Walters. Norman had been drinking that night. He had, quote, a few 6-packs of beer.
Good Christ.
These people are fucking animals.
They drink so hard.
Fucking animals. And while they were there, they saw Hillbilly in an old, what they described as an old gold Cadillac, which is exactly what he has. Now, Hillbilly's in the passenger seat. Not driving.
Got it.
Which is good for everybody.
Finally made a mature decision.
Bud's way less shit-faced than him if that's who this is, because we don't know. Mm-hmm. Mary, last she saw Bud, he was sitting on the hood of the car with a drink in her hand.
Right.
She heard a door shut, but that was all she ever heard. So we don't know. There's Hillbilly and an unknown to these two guys, black guy.
Okay.
So that's all they see. So he said hi to them because they know Bud, or they know Hillbilly. Hillbilly said hi to Walters and Norman there. And in the driver's seat, they said was a heavy-set black man with a round face. And Norman was leaning on the car, like kind of leaning in, talking to, like leaning his, not with his head in like a cop, but kind of leaning his elbow on it, talking to Hillbilly. And he said he paid little attention to the black guy because he didn't know him. And who knows? So anyway, they're there doing this. They're talking. The other guy here, the Walters guy, he came back out of the store and he described him as a black male with short dark hair, dark eyes, and a large round face. Okay. So heavy set black guy, is the basic description here. So Hillbilly yelled something out to James Norman, and Walters glanced over at the car for what he said was 3 to 4 seconds, dividing his glance between Hillbilly and whoever the driver was. So at most, he looked at the driver for 2 seconds from across a parking lot at midnight.
Might have been faster because it takes a second to recognize. Is that
exactly? That's Hillbilly. I don't know that guy. Exactly.
Right.
You spend less time figuring out people you don't know because that doesn't register.
It's just how your brain works.
Exactly. Exactly. So Norman said he knew Ireland. He knew Ireland. Hillbilly Boyd, and later on he will end up knowing Bud because he worked with Hillbilly, and later on we'll work with Bud at the Murphy's Roofing Company. Yeah. So they're roofers.
Fuck.
Trailer park roofers.
Tough life.
It's a tough life down in Florida too. That's some hot roofing.
My.
You want to talk about hot tar?
Yeah.
That's some hot tar.
You got to heat it up.
You can hit it up just right out of the bucket. So they worked together a little bit, and he knew him as Bud, obviously. And anyway, they end up going back to the trailer. Now, back at the trailer, this is where a neighbor hears some commotion. A neighbor named Paula Van Wormer and her son, who's a 12-year-old boy, both hear some ruckus. They hear, quote, "You're a liar. Look at that. You're locking the door. You're going in. You're not taking me anywhere." Okay. And it was Hillbilly screaming to somebody and throwing his hands up in the air, they said they could see out the window, and walking back toward his trailer. Now, Paula said she went outside and talked to Bud, who was out there at that point, and then Bud went inside his house. And this Glenn Van Wormer, the kid, he said when he was lying in bed around 2 a.m., he looked out his window, saw a truck pull up, and heard someone say something like, "Come on, Hillbilly." And then he said that Hillbilly got into the back of the truck and it left. Okay. So that's what the kids saw at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is like an hour and a half after the mother saw Hillbilly saying, "You're locking the door, blah, blah, blah." And then, because she went outside and Hillbilly was back in his place already. She talked to Bud. Bud went back inside. Hillbilly was back inside. And then by 2 o'clock, he's out yelling at somebody else.
Ah, damn it.
And then it's, I'm sorry, not yelling, but he's leaving in a truck. Someone's saying, "Come on, Hillbilly." And he gets in the back of a truck.
The bed.
Classy.
Yeah.
All class.
I got this.
I got this. Here. Yeah. So April 27th, the next morning, 2 fishermen that are they're by a drainage ditch in Sarasota, trying to find a place to fish. They find a body.
Oh, that's not good.
They find a body and they pull it out, and it's Hillbilly.
Oh no!
They find Hillbilly. The autopsy is conducted. The cause of death was brain injury due to a skull fracture due to blunt force trauma. They said that it would have taken at least 5 blows with a heavy object to do what this did, basically. A big fucking hole in his skull. So, yeah. His blood alcohol level was 0.207, too. Yeah. That was deceased, too. Yeah. I mean, it dropped some. So that's a wild amount of alcohol he was drinking. So, the next day, they call Mary, and they ask her to come down and identify if it's Hillbilly. Right. She goes down to identify the body. And she tells police that she hadn't seen him since she saw him leave in a truck. That's what she said. Didn't see him since then last night. So she said that she didn't know this was the first time she found out he was dead. She found out from Detective Marquis, who she said she didn't believe him and did not want to believe him at first. She said it was not unusual for him to stay out all night drinking, and it wasn't unusual for him to leave with people she didn't know in the middle of the night. Wow. So it was normal for her to hear a commotion, look outside, and see him getting in the car with someone she didn't know at 3 a.m, shit-faced. That was normal. And he come home 2 days later.
That is shocking.
It's just disturbing. So anyway, she said this isn't, so she didn't know. She said when he did not show up Sunday morning, she wasn't worried because, quote, he always found his way home again, which is what you say about a cat.
Yeah.
It's exactly what, she always finds her way home. Exactly what you say about a stray cat that you've taken in. And
a dog in rural West Virginia or something. Just, it's a pet.
He'll follow the crick. Don't worry about it. It's all right. He'll find it.
He knows where the food is.
He knows it. So Marquis here, the detective, told her she needed to go to the hospital and identify the body. So Mary went and got Sharon Brown and asked her to accompany her. Will you drive me there? And, it's tough. So she said when she saw Hillbilly's body, it came as a big shock to her. And she didn't expect it to really be him. Over the next few days, Sharon Brown stayed with Mary most of the time, taking care of her, taking care of the kids, cooking the meals for the kids, just keeping the house running while Mary tries to put her, mean, even if you hate the guy, it's like...
Still got to put your life back.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts, so it's nice of Sharon's a good friend. She's taking care of her. Now, Mary was shaken up. She said she really needed the help and all this sort of shit. Mary saw Bud the next day, the Sunday, working on his car with another neighbor and just, dicking around under the hood. Since Sharon was fixing meals for Mary's family, Bud would come over to eat with them.
Sure.
It's just the way it was because she was already cooking. I'm not going to go home and cook another meal now.
Right.
So if I'm cooking once, everyone's fucking eating it.
Come over here and eat with us.
Exactly. So he would go there. Mary, the funeral for Bud is going to be, for Hillbilly is going to be in Kentucky where he's from.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, with his family up there. So Mary has to drive to Kentucky for Hillbilly's funeral.
Yeah.
And she was accompanied by Sharon Brown and another friend from the neighborhood, Kenny Hall. So they all who knew Hillbilly also. So they all take a trek up to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh boy, up to Kentucky.
Jesus.
So, now, before they leave, though, she talks to detectives because they want to obviously know some information from her. She's going to be the last person to see him and all that kind of shit. So this Detective Skeens, he basically was accusing Mary of the whole thing.
Really?
To the point where she was almost convinced that she killed him and blocked it out.
Herself.
Yeah, she's like, because he said, "You sure you didn't kill him and block it out?" And if you notice, that's a lot of confessions are like, maybe I could have killed him and blocked it out.
Forgot.
Because after 8 hours
of
fucking people who know how to psychologically fuck with you, it starts to become plausible where you're like, oh my God, could I have done that? Maybe that's what happened. So she said she was so fucked up in the head about it. When she went home, she had to check under her sofa to see if there was a bloody lug wrench or something there to make sure that she didn't do it. And she said once she checked under the sofa, she knew she didn't do it. She knew this guy was fucking with her head, and she got her head back together. But she was in such a weird place anyway, and she's so kind of suggestible to begin with. And then this guy comes in.
And he made everything her fault, so it's very easy for her to make it feel like it's her fault.
Yeah. So a couple days later, you got Walters and Norman, the two other guys who saw them at the Quick Stop. Now, Walters speaks with that same detective and gives him the following description of the black man he saw in the car: round, almost chubby face, short, dark hair, dark eyes. I believe Norman will call him a fat slob. His exact word is he was a fat slob. So that's how he's described to the cops.
Can you imagine?
Right. So he says, quote, his cheeks were a little darker as in sideburns. His cheeks were a little darker as in side. Can you just say he had sideburns?
Yeah.
His cheeks were darker because it was hair on them.
Right.
That's what he said.
He had a beard, so
on his head, it wasn't the same color as his face because it was like a different. Because his. Like me, my skin white, but my hair's red, which is weird. It is not white hair like it should be.
He had like a carpet.
It's strange
up on top,
but it grew from his scalp.
Right.
It's strange. I have it too. It's weird, right? My daddy had it. My brother had it. Come to think of it, my mama had it too. Oh Christ, it's a disease.
I think everybody I've ever known has had it.
Oh my God, us poor bastards. Yeah. So he says. His quote, his cheeks were a little darker as in sideburns, but I did not see sideburns.
Okay.
It's just that he may have sideburns.
Okay. So maybe he has just a darker...
Possible sideburns.
Yeah.
We have everybody, APB, possible sideburns.
Possible.
Not positive. Chubby black guy, possible sideburns. Well, that narrows it down. Perfect. The fuck kind of goddamn description is that?
Right.
So, he is placed in a room, Walters is, on May 6th, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here, where they bring in 7 men and do a lineup. And we'll talk about this. They talk to them. When they're interviewed initially, Norman and Walters, they talked to Norman for about 45 minutes to an hour, and Walters was in there for a considerably longer time. Norman was upset because the detective was making him feel like he was under suspicion because, no one else saw this guy, and now he's fucking dead.
Right.
So you're saying I'm the last guy to see him alive.
Right.
Nope, me and this guy were, We're
going to have a long talk then.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Let's chat a bit. So they have reason to suspect them when they do. They think they have their culprits is what they're looking at. They're talking to him about, everything. When did you see? What did you see? Then they go to talking about Bud. What do you know about Bud Edwards? You know anything about him? That's it. So they said that the guy said that there was kind of the cops seem to have common knowledge of who Bud was and what Hillbilly did in the situation. So it just seemed like they were asking normal questions about people he knew and shit like that. Sure. So they're brought back a few days later for the lineup. And Norman knew there was going to be a lineup because, quote, they knew that Bud was going to be in the lineup. Norman said, quote, because they told me he was.
Oh, no.
So the cops told him, basically, we're going to put that Bud guy in the lineup, and, so he'll be in there.
What the fuck?
So if that's the guy you pick out, then we got the right guy. Because he's saying, I don't know that guy, but I know of him. Mm-hmm. And then later on, he'll end up working with him. Like, he knows him right then from working with him.
Right.
Because Bud just starts work right then with Norman. So he's like, I know that Bud guy from work, but I don't know him from murder.
Right.
So he's like, okay, so you don't know him from murder. Yeah. So then they said, well, he's going to be in the lineup. He's like, okay, well, that's going to be the guy I recognize because I know him.
Right.
Basically, I don't know any, whatever. So they asked, could you pick him out of a lineup? And he said, yeah, I've been working with him for like 3 fucking days. Yeah, I've spent 24 hours with him in the last 3 days.
Especially if he's still wearing the roofing uniform.
Yeah, we're doing 8-hour shifts together.
Right.
I could pick him out of a fucking lineup, no problem. He said, I know him. I've been working with him all week. And he said, quote, I'm not going to be any good anyway because I can tell you right now who he is. So, like, why would you have me pick him out of a fucking lineup? I know who he is. Just tell you who he is. So Norman said the black man in the car with Ireland Boyd could have been Bud. He said, or it could not have been Bud. Right. Not sure. It was dark and I didn't know him at the time. So
and 2 a.m.
And it's late and we had been drinking and all this type of shit. And I glanced in. I wasn't paying attention to him.
A few 6-packs.
Yes.
Not just drinking.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm ossified.
He did say, though, that his initial description was of a, quote, big fat slob. And he said that later on, in comparison, knowing Bud now, the guy in the car was probably heavier than Bud because he does it because they said, well, is Bud a big fat slob? Mm-hmm. And he said, no, I don't think Bud's a big fat slob, but the guy in the car is a big fat slob. So, just so you know. So Walters, now this is the guy who came out from getting more beer and did a 3 to 4 second glance divided between the two. Right. Norman was the one leaning in the window. Mm-hmm. So if the guy leaning in the window couldn't identify him, the guy glancing for 3 to 4 seconds,
zero chance.
And we'll talk about how horrible stranger identification, like the actual percentages and how. Basically, if you see a stranger do something, you will not know who that is. You will, if they put a bunch of people who look nothing like them together, you will. But if you put a bunch of people together, you're going to be wrong, probably. Mm-hmm. It's a crapshoot. Your brain does not process that information well. It doesn't do it. It doesn't file your shit right.
Unless it was a mad personal crime where they're right in front of your face, you will never forget that face. But if they're just robbing a convenience store and you see it.
And you might mix it up, too, because that's the thing. People go, I'll never forget that face. You fuck up a lot, though. That's the thing. People do forget that face a lot because you think you got it. In your brain, you're not going, I'm not sure, but your brain is connecting things that don't connect because that's what your brain tries to do. Sure. It connects things. So as much as you think you know what you remember, it's what's the fucking effect?
The butterfly effect?
No, the goddamn, when you are positive you've seen something that doesn't exist.
It's the Shazam thing.
Everybody thinks. That's what I mean. It's that. Your brain is telling you, no, I saw it.
Right.
Well, it doesn't fucking exist, so I guarantee you didn't. It's the same thing.
Right.
But you'll fight to the death that you
Nelson Mandela.
Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm so tired.
I get it.
Fuck me. All right.
I don't know how I pulled that out.
Thank you for that, Jimmy. Good job.
If you asked me who was the leader in Africa 5 minutes ago who went to jail, I'd be like,
imprisoned and apartheid.
Gandhi? Was it? No? Am I close?
We'll get back to it in 5 minutes and we'll ask you and we'll see how bad you don't get it right. So he said he had no reason to pay attention to either one of them, Hillbilly or Bud, and he, quote, barely looked at the driver, noticing only his large round face and his short hair. He says, I didn't even notice his facial features. Wow. Just glanced, round face, short hair, don't know him. He said the encounter was of no importance to him. Mm-hmm. It was just running into a guy at a gas station and saying, what's up?
Yeah.
And some guy who you didn't know was driving. Right. You don't look into that and go, I got to find out what the fuck they're doing. Exactly. You don't care, especially if you've had a few six-packs.
That's such a crazy description of night.
Just a few six-packs,
What?
So... Now, within the next day or two after the encounter, though, Walters hears and reads that Hillbilly has been killed. Okay. So now it occurs to him that he might have seen something important. He's like, oh, shit, was that guy in the car? Because I think that was the night I saw him.
Right.
Don't know because I had a few six-packs. He said that, he didn't call the cops or anything to talk to them. He just thought, if they come to me, I should tell them this.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened there. So that's when April 29th is when they were interviewed and all that. They give a sketchy description of the guy, like we talked about, a round-faced, short-haired black man, and that's all. Now, when they show him the lineup, and we'll talk about that in a second, he first tells them he doesn't recognize anyone. Mm-hmm. Okay, he goes, I don't recognize anybody in that lineup.
Yeah.
Right. So this was a few days after the murder. So he doesn't recognize anybody in the lineup. But then they bring him back again, and then he recognizes him. This is after a newspaper had come out saying that Bud's been arrested. It says 1975 killer arrested in sex crime, as we'll talk about in a minute why that is. So now Mary, that's what this guy saw, and now he recognizes him all of a sudden. So Mary comes back from Kentucky. When she comes back from Kentucky, she goes right to the sheriff's department, like she said she was going to, goes to talk to the detective. When she got there, the detective, who had gone to the funeral as well to talk to the family, had not come back yet. His flight was delayed in Atlanta. So she spoke with a detective Fleeman and another detective, not Marquis, who was the original. So they began to tape record her statement at about 7:30 p.m. She says later on that she doesn't specifically recall that, but there is a transcript of it and everything else. And during this transcript, and we'll get into this here, she says, a lot of different things. First of all, she said that there were a lot of people who knew because she had told them that she wished that Hillbilly was dead. Oh. So she goes, a lot of people might tell you that. And then she also said that there's also a lot of people I've heard that want him dead. So like I wanted him dead and so did everybody else. So I mean, take a fucking number on who wants to kill Hillbilly basically. So then she said she thought that, quote, it would be so much better off if he was just dead because divorcing him wouldn't have helped. He would have just taken the kids and then, tortured them for years. So she said she never intended for anyone to actually kill Hillbilly, though. Therefore, when he turned up dead, she was afraid the police would think that she killed him. Yeah. That's how it worked. So May 4th, 1986 is when they arrest Bud based on a description.
Kind of a
sort of a description.
IT.
Kind of. Just a...
Black fat slob, give or take sideburns.
That's it. That's what it is. It's like a fucking short order breakfast thing here. Yeah. It's a short order. That's exactly.
Black fat slob, give or take sideburns, small coffee.
Hold the burns or don't. Hold the burns or don't, and put a little lard on it. All right.
Extra or light onions. Your call.
Your call. So they arrest him for first-degree murder and criminal conspiracy. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Now, Mary's story at this point, she says Bud came back to the apartment after she had, they had left, and he had driven apparently, because she said that he came back and gave her keys. So the detective said, we left something out of this, I think. When Edwards, what did Edwards say when he came back that night? Did he tell you that you wouldn't have to worry about Hillbilly anymore? And she said, no. And the detective said, he didn't say that? And she said, no, he just told me that he left him somewhere. He said, I just left him somewhere. He's being an asshole. Here's the keys. So that's what she says to the detective, which everybody else has probably done too. The detective said, he didn't say that you wouldn't have to worry about him anymore. He says it again. And she says, why would he have said that? I would have known something was wrong at that point, and I would have probably called the police, is what she said. So that's her initial statement. Okay. Now, okay. Like I said, she goes to the funeral. Before that, she told him that the police should get back with them right when she got back and all that sort of thing. She said, quote, and I talked to him, the detective, for a while, and I asked him then, if I did get arrested, was I going to be arrested right then? And the detective told her, no, not right now, if you do. So that's when she went back to Sarasota and all that sort of shit here. So eventually, though, that night, when she's talking to the police, so the statement starts at 7:30, all this stuff happens. The Detective Marquis arrives back from the airport and talks with her for a little while, and then they arrest Mary at 11:30 that night.
Wow.
They arrest her as well. She told the officers, exactly what I told you, the description of what happened. So later on, a couple days later, her story's a little different, slightly different. Now she says something woke her up, and she went to the door after Hillbilly had left with Bud and everything like that. She said that Bud came in, handed her the car keys. Now her statement is that he said, quote, you don't have to worry about him anymore. He won't be bothering you anymore. That's what she said. Jeez. Which she didn't say at first. That's what the cop said.
Right.
Remember that?
How the hell
That's
did they
in
get
the
that?
transcript.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 days later, now she says this. So, she also says that he says, quote, and then it was time for me to pay off my part of the bargain. No money, remember?
Yeah.
So she said that she knew what he meant, but she didn't want to do that. She said, quote, I think I was scared by that time, so I just did what he wanted. So now she says that she and Bud had sex on the couch for a few minutes.
Casey Anthony style.
Yeah. And then, Jesus.
Florida, too.
Dead baby DNA on you. It's disgusting.
Gross.
So after it was over with, he left. Okay. So that's her second story now. None of that came up the first time.
Not once.
Nothing. She was like, what are you talking about? No, of course he didn't say that. Like, none of that shit. So the next day, like we said, then she had identified the body and all sorts of shit like that. She says later on that she only told police that he left in a truck and she didn't see him again because she was scared. She said, quote, I was afraid I would end up dead or worse, or my kids would. I don't know just what I was afraid of. I just thought it was a good idea at the time, but it didn't work out that way. So she was like, I was just trying to cover it up. I just didn't want anything to happen because I figured whoever killed him is going to kill me too. Okay. So that's what she says. So she said that she told police, or initially that he left at a pickup at 1:30 or 2 in the morning. Then later on, she said she made up the story about the truck. By the way, that's the same story at 2 a.m. that kid told as well.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said back of a pickup truck, right. Come on, Hollywood, all that shit. So Hillbilly. Hollywood. Why do I call him Hollywood? Hulk Hogan. Damn it. So according to her. Damn you. So according to her, I
listen to you better than I ever listened to my ex-wife.
That's perfect. Yeah, we have a better relationship than you had with your ex-wife. Let's be honest here.
There was never a time that she'd stop a story and go, why did I think that? I'd be like, I don't know why you said it in the first place.
That's what I mean. We have a much better relationship than any ex-wife relationship. If we could tolerate having sex with each other,
this would be
the world
best.
would be our fucking oyster. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, we find each other physically repulsive because it's just not how our brains work.
I was blown away that you asked the question and I had the answer.
I love it. That was wonderful.
Hollywood, Hulk Hogan. Oh,
where
yeah.
did I get that from? Like, why Hollywood? I get it starts with an H, but Hillbilly, Hollywood, still not right.
Nailed it.
Hillbilly, yeah. So Hillbilly Jim over here.
So Hollywood in the back of
the pickup truck. She said that she made all that up on her second thing, and she said she was scared of Bud now. Now she said she's scared of Bud when he first came back that night and was scared for the next couple days, but then he just acted like he always did, so she was less afraid in the days that followed. Now she could tell the truth, that he was a murderer. So May 6th is the second lineup where Walters had previously told them he didn't recognize anybody. Remember that? But now that the newspapers come out with him on the cover, now he recognizes him in the lineup. But he said he only said he didn't recognize him at first because he's on probation in New York and he's not even supposed to be in Florida. So he didn't want to get involved in the case. So he said, I didn't recognize him, but now I thought about it and you talked me into it. Now I'll pick him out of the lineup, even though I've already seen him on the front page of a fucking newspaper.
This story is an onion.
It's insane. This is insane. It's a
roll from New York. This is nuts.
I didn't know they grew onions in Florida, but apparently they fucking do. So then it's at that point that she picks John Edwards out of a lineup, picks Bud out of a lineup, and Mary is arrested as well, as we said here. So she's sitting in county jail, and she makes a statement to a defense investigator, not her attorney, attorney's investigator, a guy named Keith Steele. She said that if Bud walks, quote, they're going to fry me. I'm the only one left, whether I did it or not. She also said to this guy, quote, they've got to name somebody and they haven't got anybody else. They're running out of people. And that's how she felt at the time. Okay. She felt like they were just trying to, they don't know what happened and they're going to pin it on her because that makes sense that she hired Bud. It wouldn't make sense for Bud to do it on his own. That's not as much of a thing. But if she's in it too, now it makes sense. Bud did this for a quickie on the couch.
Yeah. Or a hillbilly, literally a hillbilly, jumped in the back of a pickup truck, shit-ass drunk, went around a corner and rolled out and smashed his head 5 times.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a 5 blows.
Right in the same spot.
Yeah, the medical examiner. Okay. It was a fucking on purpose thing, but he might have went out with a bunch of people, talked a bunch of shit, smacked somebody's fucking girlfriend or something.
Somebody a liar.
Next thing you know, fucking wrench to the back of the head, fuck this asshole, dumping him over.
Where's the McDonald's window girl?
That's what I'm saying.
I'd be pissed too.
Well, you know what? We didn't talk to her.
No.
She might be the one.
It's a suspect.
Not sure. Is Jim Cornette around? It could be him also. We don't know. So June 29th, 1986, this is Bud is actually indicted on these charges. Same thing. Prosecutors are going for the death penalty.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This is kind of a limp case for the death penalty. Think about it. There is zero physical evidence.
Yeah.
There is a revised testimony, a revised statement from the wife.
Yeah.
Who said the complete opposite thing the second time as the first time, which was influenced by the police officer.
Sure.
And 2 guys who, quote, barely looked at him, picked him out of a lineup after they saw him in a newspaper.
With a weak-ass description.
Yeah, or one guy picked him out and the other guy goes, I work with him, I know him. Yeah. So, and they were still like, you could still pick him out. And he's like, why? I know him. There he is. I mean, you could I could draw him for you. I know what he fucking looks like.
You told me who I'm looking for.
Here's a picture of us together. Yeah. Is that good enough? I know the fucking guy. So, this comes out now at trial here. Like I said, they're going for the death penalty. Now, during this whole thing, Mary, by the way, is going to plead guilty in exchange for her testimony against Bud.
Wow.
She is sentenced to, I guess, you, ma'am. I hate to do this because if anyone deserved to kill this fucking guy, it was her.
Yeah.
I'm not sure she did it, though. 12 years in prison she gets for that.
Lord.
So there's that right before the whole thing. Now, the only defense that they really have here, because it's hard to defend something that's kind of nebulous like this, like how do you defend it? I was home asleep. Well, okay, your girlfriend was sleeping, so she doesn't know if you were there. Jesus. It's all mushy. So the main defense witness is Glenn Van Wormer, who is the young man. Yeah, he's an 11-year-old boy who lived in the trailer court there, and his mother, Paula. Paula testified that after the card game at BJ's broke up, because she was in that card game that we talked about, she went back to her trailer. That's when she heard Hillbilly Boyd screaming and cursing at Bud. When she looked outside, she saw Hillbilly, and she saw Bud walking through the alley toward his own apartment. And she said that, quote, evidently Bud had promised to take him to the water hole, and he was saying, you blah, 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 you blah, 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 you're a liar. Look at that, you're locking the door, you're going in, you're not taking me anywhere. So, yeah, she said when Hillbilly got done cursing, he threw up his hands, walked back toward the house. That's when she felt safe enough to walk outside and go knock on Bud's door and talk to him. She said that Bud was upset, and she said, quote, that he was, quote, was upset, and he's not used to that, you know? Bud was always the one that stopped the fighting around the court. Everybody was always fist fighting, and he always stopped it. So that's her. That's him. He's the calm guy. So she was like, no, he's not used to people attacking him. So she said she talked with him for about 15 minutes, went back into the apartment there, went back into her trailer, and then her son, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours later, right before, said that he was lying on the couch, which is his bed.
Right.
They got one bedroom. And he says that he through the window was open. He said he saw a truck pull out and heard someone say, "Come on, Hillbilly," and Hillbilly jump into the back of the truck. And when he saw Hillbilly leaving the truck, he said he didn't think anything of it at the time because everyone around here is fucking drunk and crazy. And,
that's normal for my place.
Yeah. So he said he saw a truck pull out, and that was that. And so he said that he could not recall the color of the truck, but he did notice that it had a roll bar on the back.
Yeah.
So he got that much specifically. At night, it's hard to see colors, too, right, especially if you're looking at a screen. Mm-hmm. And there must be a screen, or else he'd be, I don't know, just taken by insects.
Right.
Probably carried back through the fucking window in a Florida trailer court. So November of 86, they have jury selection, and that's a little bit of an interesting thing. They offer John a deal at this point, Bud. They offer him to plead guilty, and in exchange, they'll take the death penalty off the table. And he's like, you don't have any fucking evidence.
Right.
Like, I'm not pleading to shit.
I didn't do this.
We're going to trial here. So in the jury, the first group of 14 jurors was examined by counsel. And before the examination of the second and third groups, because it's the first one, obviously, defense counsel, after the examination of the first group, moves for a mistrial.
Already.
They haven't even selected a fucking jury yet. They're a third of the way through it, on the ground that the court refused to allow him to ask the jurors any questions concerning burden of proof, presumption of innocence, or the defendant's right not to testify. Because the judge says, well, that's all in the law. So you don't have to ask them, are you going to follow the law? That's the law. They're going to fucking listen to what we say. That goes without saying. And he's like, yeah, but I want to make sure where their head's at.
Yeah.
And they go, well, you can't ask them that because that is a waste of time. And so which you want to find out. Will you hold it against the guy for not testifying?
Yeah.
You know, if you go, well, no. If the person knows anything, they go, well, no, because I mean, it's whatever legally is better for him, he's going to do. Right. No matter how innocent or guilty he is, it doesn't matter.
Let me ask you, when there's no fucking evidence, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Is that bad? Yeah.
I'd love to ask somebody that. Do you feel that they need to have...
How much evidence do they have?
Do you know about shadow of a doubt?
Shadow reasonable or anything like that. So the defense tries to exclude Jeffrey Walters as a witness because they say his identification was horseshit.
He didn't see anything.
He said, the first line, it's his lineup identification they want him. And they said, well, he didn't pick him out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't recognize anyone the first time. Then when he saw his picture in the newspaper, he went back and picked him out of a lineup. The same, it's like, that's not a witness. So they, the whole thing is they say you can't allow that, and you can't allow him into court to do that because that's where it comes from. And the court rules that is admissible and he can testify. So the trial is in November of 86. It lasts 4 days. Main witnesses are Jeffrey Walters, the quick stop guy, and Mary Boyd, who will say that she, quote, hired Bud for whatever reason. So Walters here, he says that they talk about Walters and they tried to exclude him, like we said. He gave his testimony, and on cross, he said, quote, they said that he acknowledged that he barely looked over. Mm-hmm. And then he said, quote, I just glanced over. And he said, I just noticed the outline of his face. He had a large face, dark eyes, short, dark hair. So on cross, they say, now, when you looked up at the two people in the car, you weren't really being very attentive, were you? And he said, no, I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And he said, I mean, there was no reason to pay attention to them, was there? And he said, no, there wasn't. So how the fuck would you identify them then? And okay, case closed. So he says that the only thing that stood out in his mind was the driver, aside from the fact that he was black, was that he had a round face. So he's like, yeah, I knew he was black. That stood out. And he had a round face. Other than that, I don't know. So they said, in fact, the only recollection you have of that person is the outline of his face. Isn't that right? And he said, yes. They said, and you never saw or paid attention to the least a bit of attention to his features, such as his mouth, nose, his chin, or anything like that, did you? And he said, no, I didn't.
He's Marissa Tomei. I could go now?
I could go now? Yeah, obviously you don't need me.
Right.
He said, can you recall the descriptions of these men? And he said, just one. And he said, okay, okay, and why do you recall the particular description? He said, because I had seen him somewhere before. And he said, are you talking about where did you realize you'd seen him before? He goes, not at first. When he saw him later on in the newspaper, he saw it. But then it occurred to him that it might have been the Quick Stop guy. And he's not sure. So that's when he went back and whatever. He said no one suggested to him that this person was somebody he'd seen before. And other than the fact that he'd seen him before, there was nothing about the lineup that was weird. So he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right.
Cross-examination, they do have a ball with them. They say, and do you recognize the man sitting here today as the man you saw in the mugshot? And he said, yes, I do. He said, do you recognize him as the man you saw in the lineup? Yes, I do. One of the men that you saw, and he said, yes, I do. He said, Mr. Walters, you can't possibly recognize this man as the man you saw in the big brown car last night, can you? And that night, can you? And he said, just his facial features, which is not an identification.
That's terrible.
He said, well, you just told me you didn't see his features. Now you're talking about the outline of his face. And he said, yes. The guy was just like, ladies and gentlemen, fuck your mother. I'm sitting down. I don't know what else to say.
Would you convict yourself on this?
Yeah. On redirect, though, he says that his eyes were dark. That he knew. So on recross, he says, would you acknowledge that most black men have dark eyes?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. Okay, then. It's not like, he was an Irish guy with jet black eyes.
Right.
Red hair, white skin, jet black eyes. That would have stood out.
Right.
It's
a black guy, blue eyes.
Black guy, blue eyes. That stands out.
That'll stick around a while.
That sticks out, yeah. So, yeah, large face. That's all he would say. So he says, so now, Mr. Walters, you're sitting in this courtroom today, and it's your testimony, is it not? I love when that's when you know you're fucked.
Yeah.
They're setting you up good.
They're ringing a good argument.
It's your testimony, is it not, that the man sitting at the table, Bud Edwards, is the man that you saw in the car? And he said, yes, sir, I believe it was. After all that. Yes, sir. He goes, and isn't it also a fact that you never saw the facial features of the man, the black man in the car, aside from the round face? Isn't that true? And he said, yes, it is. So in two answers, He said, I definitely know it's him. And yes, all I saw was a round face. Complete opposite. And then this guy said, I don't know what he said, I quit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go run a hot dog stand because
I hate this
my head's going to explode. So Norman, they say, you worked with him for the next week. And he said, yeah. And they said, well, what kind of guy was he? He said, Bud always seemed like a mellow type guy. I mean, he didn't say much to anybody, just did his work. So they said, but you didn't recognize him? And he said, no. So Mary Boyd comes up. And now when they ask her, Mary Boyd says that she doesn't remember saying that she didn't. That Bud didn't tell her that first conversation. Yeah. So he says that, But the detective testifies that prior to the interview, Mary Boyd never told him that he said anything to the effect of, you won't have to worry about Hillbilly anymore. So the detective acknowledged that he thought that it might have been something that he, quote, threw in there, suggested, because that's exactly what the transcript said, and that she picked up on and just latched onto it. Because that's what people do. That's what humans do. So he says that I might have done that. He testified that Mary is an extremely emotional person and was very distraught and seemed confused at the time anyway. So this could have very easily happened. She almost was convinced that she killed the guy. That's how emotionally, just distraught she is at the time.
She's looking for tire iron under the furniture.
If you throw something out, she might think, did I think that or did he say that? I must have thought that. That's, it's like a comic going, did I write that or did I hear that? Did I hear that somewhere? I didn't hear that, right?
Feels too easy.
It feels too easy. So, they said that they taped the statement. That all comes in. The defense witness is Glenn Van Wormer. Like we said, he says that he watched the whole thing. And, the mother testifies the same thing we said. Yeah. He saw him, come on, Hillbilly. He hops in a goddamn pickup truck, speeds off into the Hillbilly night.
Yeah.
So, but they also say that over the course of interviewing him for a couple hours, he said that it might have been Sunday night after Boyd was already dead because he saw the truck but remembered missing school the following day. But this is months later. So he's like, it might have been that night. But if he remembered someone saying, come on, Hillbilly, then it was probably when Hillbilly was not dead already.
Yeah.
But they still tried to impeach it with that. It was very weird. Closing argument, prosecutor says to the jury, he argued, this is the prosecutor.
Right.
He says, quote, and why is Jeff Walters' testimony so important? He's the witness who didn't witness anything.
Right.
He said, because it's extremely damaging to the defendant who's sitting right over there, because it corroborates the testimony of Mary Boyd. Obviously, then the prosecutor felt that Jeff Walters' identification here and his testimony, this is going to be the closer. Now, it couldn't be just Mary Boyd saying it, because you can't have an uncorroborated testimony from a co-conspirator. Okay. That doesn't hold in court. That's literally, you need to have corroboration. You can't just have uncorroborated.
That's why somebody's saving their own skin. Right?
Exactly. Sammy the Bull had to have proof of this shit. He had to get tapes of this shit. He couldn't just be like, John Guy told me to kill everybody, and they were like, lock him up. He had to get proof of it all, and then testify to it on top of it. That's how it worked. So then the trial court instructed that, quote, you should use great caution in relying on the testimony of a witness who claims to have helped the defendant commit a crime. There you go. This is particularly true when there is no other evidence tending to agree with the witness that says about the defendant. So, yeah, there's, you need to have it corroborated. So the jury deliberations, they deliberate for 2 hours.
Oh, no.
Then they ask, can we review the testimony of Jeff Walters and Mary Boyd? They want to look it over. The court discussed the matter with the counsels and said that it would take a lot of time to prepare the transcript.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how much time. They said it would take about 6 hours.
It's in shorthand right now, and we'll have to translate that.
Yeah, they said it would take about 6 hours, and this would likely mean they would have to be sequestered overnight.
My God.
So they said, therefore, you guys should just try to reach a verdict based on your memory and don't worry about it. And they went, all right. And they went back in there, talked for 2 more hours, and then came back out with a verdict here. They asked him again. When they went back in to deliberate more, the judge said to the counsel, they may be very close to a decision, but quite frankly, that's the crux of the whole case. Those 2 witnesses, he says to the counsels. So I would have to say they must be a real stumbling block at this point to them. I mean, that was really the 2 witnesses that was the crux of the case. So if they don't believe those 2 people, the case is over. 2 more hours of deliberation. They come back. Guilty as charged.
Oh, my.
First-degree murder. Guilty.
How do you sleep at night?
Next day, penalty phase. The defense says one of the mitigating factors was his emotional state, which is pretty thin, because he's denying he did it. But in penalty phase, you can't just go, didn't do it. Right. You have to have mitigating factors either way, whether you're denying it or not. And he says, the reason I bring this up, this is the attorney, is because I think the testimony at trial from Mary Boyd and Paula Van Wormer indicate that due to the continued and rather brutal treatment of Ireland Boyd that was exhibited toward his wife, that the defendant was upset. He was under kind of he was troubled emotionally by what he observed.
Couldn't say duress.
So he said he just, he snapped. Battered neighbor syndrome. He had he saw a wife being messed with and had what
is that when you're captive?
Stockholm. Hey, Mandela, Stockholm. Stockholm Mandela. That's the name of our new band.
That's the one.
So he says, I think we can argue to the jury that they were neighbors for a period of months, during which time Mary Boyd was continuously exposed to this kind of degrading behavior by the victim, and that, if there's any pretense at all in which to kill Ireland Boyd, it was, he didn't rob him, he didn't get in a fight with him, he took him out the same night that he tried to have oral sex with his wife in the defendant's presence, and I think that he would, that would be sufficient evidence, at least to make a colorable argument to the jury. So
they're saying he tried to force his wife to blow him in front of him, so that's
emotionally, it makes you murder.
Okay.
He also said other mitigating factors they tried to put out, that he's a hardworking guy. He didn't drink or use drugs to any extent other than socially. He was a nonviolent person who broke up fights. He does have a murder conviction.
Right.
And that's the main thing that fucked him here, that he had no juvenile offender problems, and he was from a family of 7 children, only had an 8th grade education, that he had been an adequate provider for his son. He's a family man, and he helped other people talk out their problems. Mm-hmm. So, he's fine. The evidence here shows that, Mary had pled guilty also. They show that to the jury. She pled guilty in exchange for her testimony and received a lower sentence. So they said the jury for a vote from 8-4, recommends that he be sentenced to death.
Good fuck.
Okay, that's the jury's recommendation, 8-4. So immediately thereafter, the judge says he finds 3 aggravating circumstances: that the crime was committed while Bud was under a sentence of imprisonment. He's on parole for a violent crime. He had previously been convicted of a violent felony, and that the crime was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner. The judge finds 0 mitigating factors at all to it.
Shit.
And the judge says, you, sir, may fuck off, death by electric chair.
Oh, my word. With 0 evidence.
Yeah. Now, December 10th, 86, motion for a new trial is denied. December 27th, 86, he files for an appeal. The appeal is based on misidentification.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot express to you enough in everything I've ever read about any kind of detective work, whether it be John Douglas doing Mindhunter or the entire fucking Homicide David Simon book, which is all about identifying perpetrators that are doing something, not just, did that guy have a dime bag in his pocket? This is serious shit. All of them talk about you cannot ever depend on eyewitness identification unless the person has spent significant time with that person. If someone holds you hostage for 2 hours, you can probably identify them. If they sexually assault you and are right in your face, and you can probably identify them. If they did something for 3 seconds in front of you, you don't know who the fuck you saw. And it's way worse interracially.
Yeah.
Cross-racial lines, like black people cannot identify white people. No. White people cannot identify black people. No. They don't. It's just statistically. I know you'll say, I do. I get it. Statistically, you don't, though. That's the thing. The worst ones of all, and this is statistic, are black or white identifying Asians, and Asians identifying anybody that's not Asian. Isn't that weird?
That's bananas.
They said in Baltimore they would go crazy because a lot of the stores are run by Koreans. Yeah. When they get robbed, they'd ask for a description and they'd say, all black people look alike. That's what they tell the fucking...
Unbelievable.
They were from Korea. They just got there. They would tell the detective, don't know, black guy, you all look alike. I don't know. No, I don't know. That's what they tell him.
Wow.
They were like, great.
I had a gun pressed to my head on the floor of a pizza restaurant. I know that they were wearing Jordans, but I don't even know which model it was.
That's what I'm saying.
I remember seeing the Jordan logo, but I don't know what else.
Your brain too will fill in shit to make it comfort itself to know things. So you can't depend on memory.
20 minutes later, when the cops were there, I was like, green and yellow Jordans? I think.
That's what I mean.
You got a point, man.
You start creating
Fuck people. I couldn't even identify an item that I was staring at.
A color. That's what
fascinating.
I mean. It's just how your brain works. Your brain knows and recognizes things that it knows and recognizes.
Yeah. And at the time, I'm not thinking about that guy. I'm thinking about the fucking iron pressed against my head.
Exactly. That's the other thing, too. You're not thinking, I better have a detailed description in a fucking 15 minutes.
I'm going, is that duct tape around my ankles? What's happening?
This isn't good. Jesus Christ. So also they bring up the defense is to the appeal here, Edwards' case is that he basically, he brings up the Supreme Court. There's a big thing about, quote, this is, quote, the annals of criminal law are rife with instances of mistaken identification, and they note Justice Frankfurter's observation in the identification of strangers is proverbially untrustworthy, and the U.S. Supreme Court went on to state that the dangers for the accused are particularly grave when the witness's opportunity for observation was insubstantial. Sure. Quick IDs. Yeah. Which is not great. So the decision here, they said that the appellant is indeed a black man with a round face and short hair. Like most black males, his hair and eyes are dark. Therefore, he fits the description of the suspect. Whatever weight this factor might carry toward establishing the reliability of the court ID, however, is diminished by the fact that the description was so sketchy in general that several thousand black men in and around Sarasota County could fit this description. Fair. The important thing is that Walter's description, like his identification, is predicated so heavily on just the shape of the man's face. He says his identification clearly could and almost certainly did play a significant role in the jury's deliberations. In particular, his testimony, if believed, provided sorely needed corroboration for Mary Boyd's accusation, which is exactly true here. So they said it would be highly conjectural to say that the jury would nevertheless have convicted him solely on a co-conspirator's testimony. He said the erroneous admission of the court identification can be written off as harmless under a certain standard if the jury's unfulfilled request during deliberations to have them read back the testimony, and in light of the trial court's express recognition of that these two state witnesses were the crux of the whole fucking case.
Right.
Literally, they have there. They also recognize that neither Boyd nor Walters is an ideal witness. Both were evasive on many questions. Both made inconsistent statements, both in court and from police station to court.
Right.
All of this shit. And they said they also review of these trial court, they observed their witnesses' demeanor, and the court cannot say beyond a reasonable doubt that the jury would necessarily have convicted him based just on that. They said the people in the lineup didn't even fucking look like them.
Right.
They said that there was 3 thin-faced men and 1 had a bushy afro. So that's 4 out of the 7 that definitely aren't him. So that's ridiculous. And they said that Jeffrey Walters never told the police of his purported ability to identify him until after the lineup and after he had already known him. So there's that. They say he did see him in the paper, the Sarasota Herald-Tribune, under the headline, "Murder for Sex Suspect was Convicted in 75 Death." Jeez. So that's a rough one. So they say here, in both situations, court identification may not be admitted unless it is found to be reliable and based solely upon the witness's independent recollection of the offender at the time of the crime and is uninfluenced by the intervening illegal confrontation. They said that his own testimony demonstrates the opportunity to observe the man in the car with Hillbilly Boyd was minimal. He observed the car for only 3 to 4 seconds. For these few seconds, his attention was divided. Exactly the shit we said. Barely saw the outline of his face. He said appellant is thus entitled to a new trial at which Walters will not be allowed to identify him.
Oh.
And we reverse and remand for further proceedings. Go ahead.
Great.
Now they would have to retry him without the witness.
Without any.
So now it would just be Mary Boyd saying, we kind of winked and nodded, and then he fucked me on a couch.
Right.
And that was the case. Didn't agree on a price, a time, a way out, a plan. None of that shit. That's all that happened, and that's what they have to rely on. He goes home. They couldn't retry him. They had nothing to retry him on. Uncorroborated co-defendant? Nope. Or uncorroborated.
And Hillbilly is no justice.
No, well, I mean, it is kind of justice. Fuck Hillbilly. I think that is
street justice.
We always say we never we don't make fun of the victims or whatever, the victims' families, but this guy's a fucking asshole. I'm sorry. I know he's dead. It's disrespectful, but he was a dick to everybody. He beat the shit out of his kids. He beat the shit out of his wife. He fucking was a menace to the whole neighborhood.
We do say try.
We try.
We did our best.
We've had a few. Leyland, West Virginia.
Don't be a scumbag.
That's what I mean. When someone's an asshole, we're like, I don't know, that guy's kind of an asshole. I mean, he was a dick.
Right.
So, I don't know. That said, what do you want from me? He was an asshole.
This is my favorite one so far.
I'm kind of fucking, fuck this guy.
Never have no closure.
No closure. Mary did time in prison. I mean, probably did half that time. Probably did 6 years. I mean, he did like 3 years before the appeal, and I'm sure they kept him for a while before they ended up having to dismiss it because they weren't going to refile based on...
Did he have any other problems after this?
I don't know. Couldn't find anything. John Edwards is a very common name.
Is it?
And it was really difficult to figure it out. Once he got out of jail, it was like, oh, he's gone. He just disappeared.
That man's in the wind forever.
And I'm sure he didn't really want to be out there either. He's, being accused of murder and all this type of shit. So... That said, hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was just a cleanser.
Hope that was enough questions.
Yeah, that's good.
You got enough questions? We'll give you more.
We got more. But honestly, hope that was a little cleanser and a little mind palate cleanser for you guys there. And if so, help us out. Get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. Yeah. It helps out tremendously for some goddamn reason. It just does. I don't know. Say anything you want. Just type something in there. I don't give a shit what you do. So just please, it helps. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything crime and sports and small town murder related. Listen to Crime and Sports. I'm telling you guys, listen to the goddamn show. Yeah. Don't you trust us? We're here for you every week. We bring you quality stuff. And we're not saying that you owe us anything for that. We owe you, if anything, for listening, but just trust us.
We trust each other.
We trust each other.
We finish each other's
sentences.
Really
fucking funny. Really funny.
We have a good time.
We have a great time. Check it. Yeah, Crime and Sports is so much fun. Check that out. Do all of that. You should also follow us on social media. Mm-hmm. We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, and at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. So follow all of those, or you could just use the old at Crime and Sports, crimeandsports@gmail.com for the email there. Do all of that. You should also become a Patreon donor. And this isn't just for us. No. We really try to put good stuff on Patreon.
We work hard.
We work hard on it. We don't want it to be garbage. We want those shows to be just fucking wall-to-wall laughs and crazy shit. And if you have not been on Patreon, last week we did haunted houses in small towns.
So great.
Made fun of that shit. This week we're going to do the Chris Watts documentary, which will be very interesting. We'll talk about that whole case because that's right up our goddamn alley.
Yeah.
When that happened, I'm like, oh, other people are going to talk about this. This is, whenever any tragedy, murder happens in a small town, I feel ownership over it.
I want to tweet at him.
Like,
don't you fucking
how
dare.
fucking dare you people? Don't you know we exist? This is our thing.
Should be at the end of the AP article. And this one is for these two.
Yeah, which is really a disturbing way to look at it. I got to say, that's disgusting. But I don't know. It's like a weird, we're not even chasing ambulances. We're chasing hearses, which is fucking worse, I guess. So I guess they're already dead. What are we going to do about it? So anyway, but we're going to do that. And we'll have that guy was an asshole. So we'll have a crazy time with that. It's a wild story.
It's an awful story.
It is. And also, Jimmy will give you a shout out here. We'll give you a shout out. He'll mispronounce your name. You will be a producer, who we're going to talk about in just a moment. You can get everything what we just mentioned. If you're over the $5 mark there, any mark will get you a shout out.
Sure.
All the bonus stuff, $5, that is patreon.com/crime and sports. And you can do that. Or if you just want good karma and a shout out to have your name fucked up, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And that said, Jimmy, God damn it. It's been just crazy. And I need to hear just nice, happy things. I need to hear the names of, honestly, some of my favorite fucking people on earth that would never take us out in the middle of the night and smash our skulls in with a lug wrench. Please, Jimmy, hit me with those names, but not a wrench right now.
This week's executive producers are Danielle with no last name, Tyler Nymiller, I think that's right, Gavin Zamiello, yep.
Hey, nice.
Bert 1094 might be his address, I don't know.
Maybe.
Ashley with no last name, Carrie Gage, Drew Bittner, nope, what is that? What did I do? Bittner? I think, God damn it, Bettiner?
Wow.
I'm a terrible.
We're fourth, we're like 5 names in.
I write so terrible. Chantel George, Brianne Solou, I think, Katie Howell, nope, that's Haley, or Hale. Kip Sousley, Sarah Schumer, Tyron with no last name, David Meisner, Nicole and Ashley Thompson, Austin Ford, Kelsey Hebert is sticking around. Thanks, Kelsey.
Kelsey, good
Remember
to see
when
you.
We got her super
I got her.
stoned? You
did. Really. I felt
she
bad.
She wandered the city.
I feel bad. She just disappeared and wandered off into the Chicago streets that night. But
Sam Halflin, Madison Lilly, Shauna Rogers, John Sardo, Michael Dietrich, Aaron Sinkovich, Elizabeth Wolfinger, Jordan Bennett, of course, and Donnie Keene. Thank you guys so much. We can't do it without you. Other producers this week are Terry Money, Antonio Menezes. I don't know. That's a tough one. Taylor Phillips, Adam with no last name, Heather with no last name, D.E. at Bulach, is that what is it? DE yet?
What did you do?
I don't know. Warner Swope, Savannah Showalter, Brendan Boyle, Jessica Durden, Brooke Kemp, Mick Quinn, Elliot Bressler, Deborah Waddell, Joel Van Arsdale, J.D. Bricker, Lucas Folks, Justin List, Zachary Lee, Benjamin Page, not here. Was that right? Damon Smith, Stephanie Donovan, Pat Fox Leonard, what is this? Tenley Wells, Sabine Bechtold, Leah Creeder.
Tough run this week, Jimmy.
It is. Michael Muiz, Lucy Carter, Rohan Bahaj.
Hey.
He donated twice, both ways. I think it's Rohan Bajaj.
Yeah, I saw he was like laid up or something.
Yeah, he does the hospital stuff because he's got a bad heart.
Yeah, I feel bad for that guy. Thanks for hanging with us, brother.
He's amazing. Thank
Appreciate you.
Annalise Dupil. I'm sorry, Annalise. I'm so bad at that. Sarah Ostaforov? What? No. Stephanie Huron and Billy Johnson. Holly Flowers.
Billy Johnson. There, Jimmy can get that
Got
one.
it. Michael Weber or Weber. Samuel. Nope, that's Samuel Ruby. Probably Jack's kid.
I assume it's
Ronnie Kumar. James Roberts. Zach Taylor. With an X. Zach. That's, I think, is that cool? Is
That'd be Zach's.
It's Z-X-A-C. That's Zach, right?
Not on this planet, no. But thank you for your money.
I can't tell if it's cool
you.
or not.
Amber. It's cooler than regular Zach, I guess. Yeah. But it's like, let's take a name like Zach, which is meant to try to be cool and try to really cool it up.
Rock star.
Man.
It's probably James Taylor's kid.
Probably. That's why.
Amber with no last name. Nathan Simon. Derek Cooper. Jorge Torres, Andrew Young, Luis Fernandez, Jessica McKinney, Anastasia Bergmeyer, God damn it, Mike Himes, Stephen, nope, that's Steph Davis, Brian Dixon, Kristen Hecker, Aaron Fifield, Dustin Thornton, John with no last name, Junhee Kim, Jana Ray, Jonathan Head, Sue Tufts, Sam Hune, Andrew Santos, Nicole Winkelseth, what? Wrinkle? I don't know what it is. Stephanie with no last name, Amanda Short, Amy Nicole, nope, that's Sean. Sean Banner. He's sticking around.
Hey,
Thanks,
Sean, what's up? One of the Four Horsemen.
Right. Narelle O'Connor, Rowe with no last name, G with no last name, Sean McConnell, I think, Nelson Brandon, Philo Brandino, fuck. Paul with no last name. Carly,
what are you talking about?
Carly Boyd, Michael Scott, Pat Bement, Brendan Jones, Chance Ferguson, D-, Sonia Montgomery, Alicia with no last name, Jose Trucero, Tyler Jorgensen. I'm so bad at this. Why am I so? Heather Watson, Alex Ames, Robin Meyer, Nick Porter, Michael White, Shelby with no last name, Michelle Hilson, Mike Rabe, Maureen Moran, what? Justin Henson, Felicia Wiskunis, Leland Davidson, Lizette Talbot, Tanya Garcia, Andrew Moore, Ashley Danforth, Carissa Blancia. What did I do? Justin Elliott Judd, Rachel Dean, Michelle Mazaris, Stephen Faubel, what? Ben Brown, Michael Bright.
What you got there?
Say again? Gus Zazo, Jamie English, yes. Lucas Wayman, Cassie Devine, Georgia with no last name, Kayleen Greninger, Tracy Ainsworth, Nancy McKee, Kate Smith, Blake Dove, Alyssa Judd. You can't do SZCZ. That's not words, right? What is that?
Somebody from Czechoslovakia.
Alyssa
It's nice that the God Bless America lady gave us money. That's very nice. Thank you.
Alicia Haskins, Corey White, Christy Brienne, Amanda Schurer, Heidi Hesse, Dominic Fontani, Katie Rose Morris Cole, Rachel Lamoury, Dominique Jackson, yes, Carl Lively, Lynn Quaubo, Kara Outs, Corn Fieldley, Jim Comiani, yep, Joshua, Aheezy, Brian Martin, Daniel Belusi, Danielle, I don't know, I think it's a guy, and I'm fucking his name up, I'm sorry. Or it's I don't know. I'm an asshole.
You're in
is what it is.
A hole tonight.
Nicole Merchant, Zane Hall, Christine Cascella, Martin Knightsbridge, Teresa Brockman, Catherine Brazzoni, Sarah Vidal, Jamie Barthol, David Kupar, Albert and Avila, Kira Heinrichsen Morgan. Amanda with no last name, Dave with no last name, Lieben Osman, Ryan Poots, Tyler Carter, Sherry Bauer, Sheena Elliott, Ryan Harold, Ana Cusack, yeah. What? Yeah. Mark Faden, Kevin Blaylock, Mandy Brown. I'm really hitting the brakes. D Web 07, Ayla Indigo, Rob with no last name, Vinny Lester, Brian Leal, Matthew Troy, Glenn.
Okay, new page.
Yep.
Deep breath.
Here we go. Nicole Dainzer.
New day.
Mackenzie Merjachi.
Nope. Same day.
Mersochi. That's what it is. Same day, same time.
Just after lunch now.
Cody with no last name. Bailey Maple. Beck with no last name. Stephanie Diddy. Black in the Day podcast. Kenzie with no last name. Desmond Nelson. Kara with no last name. Brian Lempa. Sarah Adair. Angela Gilmer. Misty Boyd. Thomas Ward. Andrew Battaglini. Heather Peterson, Liz Serwinski, Lauren Ocello, Saranda. Is that Saranda? Lindsay? What? It's got to be the first name last, right? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Phil Irving, Mike Sheehan, Doug Manning, Ellen Medley, Jonathan Hooling, Ashley with no last name, Don Brannon, Khalil Kelly, Kevin Stanley, Tim Pendle, MM, Gun Logger, Gun Porson, what? Daniel Morgan, Mona Pomona, MSCMO, Miss CMO, Simo? No. Are we pronouncing letters now?
County Sheriff's Office? What
CMO.
Oh, I don't know.
Catherine Vasunda, Jesslyn Reinhart, Corrine Ryan, Andrew Betts, Augustus Lerma, Melanie Malign, Mitch Barter, Jacqueline Hewitt, Kendria Jones, Taylor McMorris, Becca Waters, Force of Nature podcast, Margaret Feltner, Braley, H. There's no last name, just H. That's what that is. Katerina Apolonova, Ann Owens, James Buress, Scarlett Horbeast Jr., Lindsay Shaheen, Anthony Verdeen.
Congratulations, Scarlett Horbeast.
Anthony Verdeen, Chelsea Rumpia. What did I do? Christine Hansen, RJ with no last name, Noreen Jones, Anna Jahanky. Sarah Romano, Lisa Aerosmith, probably the band's daughter. They all had a daughter. One daughter. They all
one cup.
No.
You never know.
Louise Ord, Yelena, Mike Rabe, C.T. Hamilton, Lucas Russell, Jason Copeland, Daniel Erhard, Charles Cone?
When Steven Tyler came, he went, wow!
Kim JMJ 91, Orion Howard, Julie Magiacombe Carrera, what is this? Nicholas Kirstein, Ben Bird, Robert Milligan, Andrew Hunt, Jamie Damon, Chris Carrazas, it's probably that. Matthew Lights, Maria Herlifson, Homestretch, Nicholas Walchowski, Sanalisui Nintini. That's not right either. Hannah Elliott, Ronnie Kumar, Katarina Nielzolka, Christina, that's Christine Hudson, Cole Hinson, Peyton Meadows, Alicia Stambach, Tracy Apple DeJamaris. I'm never going to get it right. It doesn't matter. Amanda Knight, Jordan with no last name, Aaron Wilson, Tina Wolf, Suzanne's Townies, Rachel Cascaden, Steve Schnell, thanks Steve, Jeff Salagi, it's Italian.
Yeah, he's going to fuck that up.
Cameron Close, and I'm way off. Matthew Wilkins, Joanne Ahern, happy birthday Jen Armstrong and Aaron Halston.
Happy birthday.
Brendan Abels, Susan Olgis, happy birthday thanks. Tracy Mullet.
Susan and Brendan.
Mullet. Mashy Blade, Marissa Cole, Lacey's Sweet Creations, Catherine Glancy, Tracy Jacobs, Mark G, Christoph Oliwa, Mindy Schompert, Tracy Ainsworth, Alexander Bowl, Matthew Grazer, damn,
hardly knew.
Right? Jonathan Rice, Alexander Bull, Christina Brayton, Alicia, that's Alex Fisher, Jimenez, Stacy Kathleen Coomer, Vidar Logue Samuelson, The Suck Up, Marcia McCorkle, happy birthday to Nia from Joey Pivarnik.
Happy birthday.
He said he loves her, but I could have just said from Joey because there's no Pivarniks, right? How many other are
somewhere.
there? Hallsfeller TV, Marcia McCorkle, I said that. Tyler Ryan, Viviana, Alex Hopper, Andrea Sobolik, Addison Hendricks, Allison with SZ again. What? Sapansiak? Sapansky.
Yeah, sure.
Michael Johnson, Michael S. Johnson. There's a ton of those. Paul with no last name. Janice Hill, John Helms, Chloe Campbell, Thomas Smith, Carter Harris, Melissa Atheson, James Martyr, Deanna Grimes, and Tuesday Brews Crew, Jude Kendall, and obviously all of our other patron supporters, but also Shelly Aldridge Roberts' birthday is this week. She's from Gun Barrel, Texas. She sends us all the Gun Barrel shit.
Thank you.
Karina Surdell, Emily and Nick, happy anniversary. Elizabeth Smith, and Clay Thorson and his wife.
Thank
you both so much. You're amazing. Give the wife a big hug and a kiss. It's either their anniversary or it's her birthday, because you know what I did is not write it down.
Perfect.
So thanks, Clay. You're amazing. And all of our patron supporters, you guys are amazing.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Thank you, guys. So we were just saying that the case that we were just talking about, Jimmy said they think it was a lug wrench. They said, yeah, that kind of shape. Yeah. And I went, something that's in the back of a pickup, some kind of tool.
Handy.
Yeah, so he's like, it's something sliding around back there.
Slams against the back of the fucking cab when you hit the brakes too hard.
You know how that works.
When the light goes yellow.
Yeah. What if somebody wanted to slam against your cab, Jimmy? How could they get a hold of you?
Find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks, on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys truly for everything that you do. It's it's really scary how much you guys support us, and I really appreciate it.
It's a fact.
It's a lot of people that we don't want to let down, so we work really hard to continue that.
An
so
even bigger fact.
Yeah,
we won't let you down. You can find me at Jimmy P is funny, or you can just copy and paste from the show. You know how the fuck to find people. You know how to find people if you want to look them up.
Oh,
thank you guys, honestly, for everything. You've kept us going, and you've always been there for us, so we're always going to try to be there for you. We can't fucking wait for every episode. We're excited for it, and we're still excited for next week. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus